here tonight, so I won't take up much of your time. My humble request to you would be that we have a lot to celebrate here today. Some absolutely brilliant names in the industry will soon be taking the stage. Let us make sure the applause does not die tonight. So welcome to this event and this evening replete with knowledge sharing, and let us have a round of applause for Architects and Interiors India Design Debate, the Trivandrum edition. To begin with, let me call on stage the man who created and ideated this forum, Mr. Indrajit Sauji, Group Publishing Director, ITP Media Group. Please join me to welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are really sorry for the delay, and we are told that there are more people joining us in a while. But we intend to start this event before that. Just give me a while. So, Shubha Sanya Trivandrum. Good evening, boys and girls. Nothing is working. Good evening. Thiruvananthapuram, one of the biggest cities in Deep South, and also known for the evergreen city of India. Because of its green landscape and presence of many public parks, Thiruvananthapuram has historically been a cultural hub of South India due to the development of art, architecture, and liberal customs by the rulers of the erstwhile Thiruvananthapuram kingdom. As a testimony to the renowned artists like Maharaja Swati Tirunal and Raja Ravi Varma hail from the city. The architectural saga of the city has been shaped by various cultural, social, and political dynamics. There can't be a better place to discuss on today's topic, aesthetics versus economics, when it comes to the discipline of architecture. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this Trivandrum edition of Design Debate. It's overwhelming to see you all in person and to see the hall full to its capacity. We are really sorry that people are standing behind. We are arranging for the chairs. Kindly bear with us. This is the first time we are coming to the city, but I'm humbled and warmed by the love and warmth extended to us. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to our moderators for today, Architect Koshi Alex, Niranjan. Despite their busy and impossible schedules, they have agreed to wholeheartedly lend support and help us curate this event. A special thank you to Saiju Bashir, a very good friend, who has really helped us to develop the content for today's event. And a round of applause for each one of you for being here today and making this event possible and successful. We started Design Debate almost a year back, and this is the 20th edition we are doing today. So we are visiting various cities across the country and with a special focus on B towns. How it started, I'll tell you. I mean, there was, we were ideating at office, and we found out that most of the time we do a magazine called Architect and Interiors India that's on your table. So most of the time we see architects from big cities, major towns, like appearing in the magazine. Whichever forums we do, we only see like the same names appearing there. So we thought when there were friends like Saiju from B towns and all who kept us updated about like what's happening here and what kind of good work you guys are doing and what amazing talents these cities have. So we thought, like, why not reach out to these cities? Why not reach out and be there, speak to you like in person, see your work in person, and also give you a forum, like a national forum, wherein like you come on board the magazine, you come on board our national events, and you get a forum to speak to the country. And now, like since we are going to be amongst the top five, top three economies very soon, like sky's the limit. And like there's a lot to be built, and you need to have like a national presence for sure. Past couple of years have been really challenging for all of us, and especially for the design and construction industry as such. The pandemic has definitely changed the way we do our business, the way we conduct our business. But before that, let me ask you, do you really consider architecture as a business? Yes, no? Still, a lot of people are very hesitant to call it a business. Many of our designer, the most common complaint I hear from architects and many of our designer friends is that architectural school did not teach them enough about business. Although students take a professional course in architectural school, but most of them begin their career knowing very little about business. As young professional, you might think business will hardly matter, but like, keep in mind like there are aggregators now who have entered this trade. If you don't take heeds now, they'll take over. As young professional, like you need to know like a lot about how the business is run or how like a practice has to be propagated further. The better you understand the economics behind the project, the better you understand the timelines, which in turn will increase your chances of the project being successful. You may broadly classify the business of architecture in two parts. One is the economics of it, and the other one, most important part, is the art or aesthetics of the business. You must manage both efficiently to run a successful architectural practice. If you falter on one, it's going to be a disaster for sure. And you are in a profession where you can't really falter. As they say, a lawyer defends your past. A doctor ensures that you are healthy, you are like live on a present day. But you as architects, as designers, has a potential to impact generations to come. You have a potential to change the skyline of the city. The projects that you do stands for ages. So we as designers have to be very cautious of our actions, especially in the developing country like India, where they say the 70% of the country is still to be built. And we as designers are catering to only 3-4% of the entire population still. So the potential is huge. There's immense scope to grow our business and practices. And imagine when we cross the 5 trillion economy mark, all this business is going to come to you. People are going to need more houses to stay. Today, we have the world at our doorstep. The G20 summit is happening. Like there they are discussing on economy, they are discussing on finances, and this all is going to impact, and this all is going to take us to the next level. So today's design debate brings together the subject experts in the field who will touch upon the mentioned points and immediate and long-term challenges facing architects. We'll chat with these leading design experts and learn from their experience and expertise as to how we can prepare ourselves better to survive and succeed and make an impact, keeping economic in mind and at the same time not compromising on the aesthetics. So let's hear it out from the experts in the field, our esteemed panelists, as which side they are on. A big thank you to our sponsors for believing in us. and helping us bring this event to this buzzing city. To deliberate on these pertinent questions, aesthetics or economics. A big thank you to MRF Epicure Paints, a category partner, and the enthusiastic MRF team for believing in us and giving us this opportunity. They have some amazing products to enhance your aesthetics while taking care of the economics. There is a display behind, you can just visit them. Our category partner, Dorma Kaba. Thanks Ashok, Arvind and the Dorma team for partnering with us. They have a beautiful display right behind, and they'll be happy to showcase how you can secure yourself and your aesthetics with ease. Our category partner, Jindal Panther, Mr. Somala Reddy, Mr. Chaitanya, and the Jindal team. You have been a great support across many cities with us. Thank you so much. Before I hand over the forum to Shiraz, let me show you a short video on who we are and what exactly we do. Can I have the AV, please? Thank you. It can be louder. Thank you so much. So these are few things, few events that we do throughout the year, and we definitely want you also to be on these forums. These are on national platforms. So we want to bring you onto these platforms, and we also do the magazine Architect and Interiors India that's lying on your table. So apart from this, like we are doing a lot of other international forums also. We'll keep you updated through the newsletters that we send it across to you. We are also live with this event. I am told that, like, we are on YouTube as well as on Insta. So a lot of people are joining us live to watch this event. Good evening to the live audience who are watching us online. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of very senior dignitaries amongst us. Mr. Panikar, with like a round of applause for him. He had been really helpful and helped us to constitute this event. And Mr. Mahesh is very soon joining us. Okay. Mr. Mahesh, hi. Thank you, sir. Thanks for being here. A round of applause for Mr. Mahesh. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your evening. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a really heartwarming speech. Moving on, before we delve further into the evening, we have a very special message from MRF. Can we please have the MRF AV?
Everything has to be perfect, just perfect for him. Be it the elegant kitchen where cakes are baked, or the stain-proof table on which it is served, or the shiny grill on the balcony for vlogs. Be it the shining tall guarding grills of gate, or the antique swing your kiddo loves. Be it the luxurious building exterior for viral videos, or even the wooden doors or windows. Be it the cool terrace for yoga, or the impressive short walkways. Mr. Perfect needs everything beautiful. Everything. MRF Paints. Wood coat for all wooden furnitures. Zameen PU floor coat for paver blocks. Alturia interior and exterior for walls. Aqua Fresh interior and exterior. Luxury wall paint. Metal coat for gates and grills. Aqua Fresh Cool for terraces. We have paints for all parts of your home. Give the perfect finish that your home deserves with MRF Paints.
I would like to invite Mr. Henry Pius, Executive Business Development, to kindly come on stage to present about this incredible brand, Vapicure Paints by MRF.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening all. My name is Henry Pius. I'm a state BD for the MRF Paints for the Kerala. So you know that for the last 3 decades, we are in business for the paints, for the decorative and for the coatings. And in order that, we have added our service part for architects and interior designers. For Pan Kerala, now we have 17 business development offices. That means manpower to support and assist the architects and interior designers of Kerala. And as well as we have a wide range of products that protects and beautify your creations and architectures for the last 3 decades. And we have a newly launched products also. So I'm inviting you to my presentation. Sorry, some technical issue. Oh, here is our company profile. It's a fully owned subsidiary company of the MRF Limited. You know about the MRF tires. And we are in the business for the adding the aesthetics and the harmony for the last 3 over decades. And we are ISO certified on 2015 certified. And 3 fully equipped manufacturing units in Tamil Nadu for manufacturing the paints and cottons. fully fledged R&D center for innovative and continuous development. Highly qualified chemists and engineers for the stringent product quality. So strong distribution network, dealers. We have in Kerala around 1,000 dealers, paint dealers, and as well as RDCs for the regional distribution centers for the smooth supply, and regional sales office and 3 depots. Depots we have in Trivandrum, Kottayam and Cochin, and Thrissur and Calicut and Kannur. And product available in pan India. Our every product is available in pan India. And we have, like I said before, we have a business development team to assist and support you in Kerala. Here is our product category. We have 3 product categories: wall finishes, wood finishes, metal finishes, and specialty products. Here is our first and luxury category, wall emulsion. This is a polyurethane based emulsion. You know that in market it's available only the acrylic based emulsions, but this is the polyurethane. The technology called polyurethane dispersion. It has a highly durable and 1,000+ shades, and highly weather resistant and highly washable. It's available in 3,000+ shades, as well as it's a low VOC and less than lead content less than 19 parts per million. And its coverage is also very high compared to other acrylic-based emulsion. It has coverage of 130 square feet, and it's available in 1 and 4 and 10 and 20-liter pack size. And the same, that was an exterior. This is the interior for the interior wall emulsion for the projects. And this is also polyurethane-based emulsion with a highly performance of stain resistance and highly washable. And we provide 7 years performance warranty for this product. And this is our premium category wall decorative emulsion, and is one of the unique products and currently available in market because it's the 2-in-1 emulsion. We can apply this emulsion on walls, means a putty or a cementitious surface for the interior and the exterior. So that means it can consume the low wastage of the product. And it's a 5 years warranty we are providing for these products, and it is available in 1,000+ shades, and its coverage of 180 to 200 square feet, and its available pack size are 1 and 4 and 10 and 20-liter pack size. This is our economical range wall coating. This is called Visa. This is for the interior. It's available in 2 shades, matte and shine finish. It's a low VOC. It's an eco-friendly product, and it has a coverage of 200 square feet. And this is the exterior economical emulsion, decorative emulsion. It has a 900+ shades, and as well as this is an acrylic-based emulsion, and it gives a good coverage of 130 square feet, and it's a truly eco-friendly product. Here comes, you know that here in Kerala, we have a lot of water seepage and water leakage issues, as we know that almost 8 months in a year is raining. And this is the total solution for the concrete terrace and as well as the vertical walls. It's called Aquafresh Dam Card. It's a strong adhesion and high durability. It gives a zero find-a-frame crack bridging ability and elastomeric properties that can help to adjust the cracks and all. And it's a low VOC, and it have 8 years performance warranty, and it's a highly bright white, so that it reduces near to 10 degrees Celsius of temperature in the room. And these are the primers. The undercoat for the mentioned emulsion. This is a luxury category primer for the Aquafresh, and this is Altura, and that's just allowed 2-in-1 primer. And here comes, I'm switching into Malayalam. MRF paints-ന്റെ ഒരുപക്ഷെ നിങ്ങൾ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഏറ്റവും നല്ലൊരു പ്രോഡക്ട്സും ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ഉപയോഗിച്ചുള്ള ഒരു പ്രോഡക്ട്സും ഇതാകാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. This is for the wood polish. This is a polyurethane based good quality products currently available in market. ഇതിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു ഹൈലൈറ്റ് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, if you apply it properly, the wood, the exterior wood, exposure wood will get the life up to 5 to 7 years. And it has a 60 to 17 square feet of coverage. And previously we have only 2 finishes actually, glossy and silky matte. But ഒരു സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആർക്കിടെക്ട്സിന്റെ വലിയൊരു ഡിമാൻഡ് കാരണമാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു ഫിനിഷ് കൂടെ ഞങ്ങൾ ഇപ്പോൾ മാർക്കറ്റിൽ അവൈലബിൾ ആക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇറ്റ്സ് കോൾഡ് total matte. This is completely total, less than 3 units of glass level. And this is a newly launched product from the MRF family called Woodcoat Italia. This is for the interior. You know about the Italian designs. So same way, for give the aesthetic look to our wood furniture and interior furniture, we can use this product called Italia. And it's very fast drying compared to other wood polishes, and it's very easy to apply. And this is one of the high demanding products, and this is a waterborne hue. Means there is no odor, no other health issues, nothing will be there. And it's available in the four finishes, like we have a matte and glossy, and we can apply the wood aqua coat floor coat on the wooden floors, and it gives lives to 10 to 20 years for the wooden floors. It's available in anti-skid also. It's a completely eco-friendly product. There is no odor and easy to apply and very cost effective. And here comes our metal segments. We can see that we have three kind of primers: PU primers, epoxy primers, and chrome super yellow. And in that, we have PU primers, metal primers, called metal called universal primer. Universal primer have a addition to glass, wood, metal, everywhere we can apply that primer and we can coat any substrates. And the same way, the epoxy primers, that will resist from the corrosions and the rust. And synchro super is a economical category for the metal segments. Here is our one of the best, another product called metal coat. This is a polyurethane, 100% polyurethane material. It is a clear pigmental finish and it is available in metallic and glossy and matte finishes. It's highly durable for the exteriors and is highly effective for the UV resistance and other climate resistance and weather resistance. And you can protect your steel or a wood substrates up to 5 to 7 years if it is exposed to sunlight or UV resistant. So one of the best products that are available currently in market. And the same way for like a Metacoat is a Metacoat Plus. It's available in 3000 plus shade with the same features for the high weather resistance and heavy UV protective coating for the metal and wood. Here comes our economical urethane for the metal and wood. Actually, this can be applied on spray or a brush or whatever. With roller also we can apply this product. Is the main characteristic of the product actually protects from the corrosion, and it's very easy to use. And it for our applicators also, if you have an painting applicators, it's very easy to use compared to other category of products, and it's one of the best ideal product, and it gives us to 4 years up to for metal and wood substrates. And here is a actually super fine 1K finish. You know that this give you the metallic for the bright gold and a bright silver and a red gold and a bronze and copper finish for the metal surface. It is highly washable and stain resistant too. It is a replacement for the enamel. You might have heard about the enamels. That means alkyd-based enamels, but it is a replacement of the enamel. It's called a Specta PU enamel. It has a PU content of 9% of PU content. That means polyurethane content. So it gives life 2 years of life. If enamel gives a 6 to 1 year's life, the Specta can give you a 2 years life and protect your substrate from all the weather resistance. And this is our newly launched product for the name itself called Zameen. This is for the paving tiles and as well as for the concrete floors. It gives a 4 years performance guarantee. It's available in 8 shades and it's a good abrasion resistant, and it protects our floors and like paving tile from all the weather conditions. As I said before mentioned, like 8 months are raining here and all the acrylic based floor coatings are getting affected, getting obviously complaints. This is a proper replacement and solution for the paving tiles and concrete floors. This is Epidec. This is called epoxy system. This is for the mainly for the industrial purpose, and it gives the protection from all the rust from the metal surfaces. This is Altura Metallic. It's a newly launched product for the water-based metallic coatings. It has available in bright gold and bright silver. It's a highly durable, and we can apply on the Altura primer like I mentioned. It's very stain resistant and eco-friendly and lead content less than 19 parts per million. All of our products are lead content is as per the Indian rule less than 90 parts per million. So we can apply, it's a polyurethane based also, solvent based also we can apply interior and as well as an exterior. And it gives a coverage of 50 to 60 square feet. This is the glass coat PU. Glass coat PU is for the glasses actually. We can available, this is in gloss clear and matte clear and glossy finish, highly durable. And this is a designer look will go to any glass substrates. And the recent iconic projects we have done in Pan India, let me show that. This is the Amma Memorial, Marina Beach we have done, and Kolkata, Calicut, Ahmedabad, Bodh Gaya. Let me show you the images. This is Amma Memorial for the Marina Beach. This is our product. We use a new wall-coat PU system because it's one of the best products for the saline area. It gives the weather resistance and also saline resistant to the substrate. And this is Marcus Knowledge City. Probably you might have seen this wonderful, beautiful creation. താമരശ്ശേരി ചുരം നമ്മൾ കയറുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് താഴത്തോട്ട് നോക്കിയാൽ ഈ ഒരു വണ്ടർഫുൾ ക്രിയേഷൻ്റെ ഒരു വ്യൂ നമുക്ക് കാണാം. ഹിയർ ആ കാണുന്ന മെറ്റാലിക് ഗോൾഡ്, അവർ പ്രോഡക്ട്സ് കോൾഡ് അൾട്ടൂറ മെറ്റാലിക്. ആൻഡ് This is Punarur Suspension Bridge. It's one of the best and one of the first hanging bridge in India. So, I think especially in South India, one of the motoring bridge, and how Durothin is applied. And for the second time, they're applying the Durothin after the 5 years of interval. And this is the 3 feet ideal in Swami in Ahmedabad and Wat Thai Temple in Bodh Gaya. Here used our campus and metal coat. And the Eden Garden Stadium in Kolkata. Here our metal coat is used for the protect the meta surfaces. And this is the recent projects in apartments and residential projects here in Bangalore, Indore, and Mumbai, Jaipur, Vijayawada. And this site is from our capital city, from the Trivandrum. This is a recently completed site in Nightingale. This is done by our architect Sudhir sir actually. The complete site is filled with the MRF products only. This is the interior of that product. This is a total mat, the cupboards and everything. And this is Cochin. The Zamin I told for the concrete floors and interlock paving tiles. It can be used in the exterior and the interior as well. So for I'm winding up for how we support for you actually. We have a BD team, like I said before. 17 BDs, manpower is working to assist architects and interior designers here for all the painting needs. And free product sampling we can do in our projects, and project previews also we can do. For the supply chain part, we have 4 RDCs and 40 sales depots and strong channel network and technical guidance. For the coatings and paints, obviously the technical guidance is required for durability of such products and any coatings. So we have a regional training center in Cochin. If any of your colleagues or juniors or any site supervisor or applicators record a training for the paints in deep training, we can do the application there. We can go in deep for the coatings and paints. We have a training center in Cochin, the place called Nettour. If anyone is interested, we have our team is behind there. You can register your names and we will fix an appointment with you and we will come and we will train and we will invite you to our regional training center for Cochin for better awareness of the paint and coatings. And we have a site supervision support and the customized shades for the high volumes. Whichever shade you want in your site, we can develop that for the high volume. So thank you all, and training. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henry. That was a beautiful presentation. And now I would like to make a very, very special announcement. We now have amongst with us a personality worth a million praises, an icon in the design and architecture industry and the epitome of brilliance. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce him to our gathering tonight. He is one of country's eminent architects of 43 years in academic and professional field. He has contributed immensely in the field of sustainable architecture. He has revived the timber construction in a modern concept and has designed some of the best hotels and resorts in India. Dr. Kalam, during his term as the President of India in 2002, recognized by his work for Rajiv Gandhi Center of Biotechnology, Trivandrum, and honored him with a plaque for his excellence in design. He is a recipient of more than 24 awards and honors. He is a professional architect as well as proven academician. It is this virtue that dominates his personality as a man of institution. Founder of the College of Architecture, Trivandrum, and the principal architect of Iyer and Mahesh Architects. Please welcome Architect N. Mahesh. Sir, can we please have you on stage? Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you so much for making it. I'd also like to...
Thank you very much. People are all waiting for the session. Eminent speakers are there. All of them are prepared. All my friends, Manoj and Srijit and Saiju and Suryak. So I think wish you all the best and let us have a good session now. We are all eagerly looking forward to the session. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, sir. That was prompt, but that was very sweet. Thank you so much for making it to the event. Moving forward, We now have another special message. Being our first event at Trivandrum, we've been overwhelmed by the response that we have received from each one of you. And it takes me immense pleasure to let you all know that we have a very special message from one of the most leading architects of Trivandrum and the only architect to win a Padma Shri award and 15 national awards for his remarkable contribution to the industry. He calls himself the People's Architect and is dedicated at evolving the most cost-effective designs that guarantee sustainability. He is none other than Dr. G. Shankar from Habitat Technology Group. Can we please have a look at the message that he has shared for the ITP Media Group and team?
On behalf of the Fraternity of Architects in Trivandrum, let me profusely thank Architects and Interiors India for making this event in Trivandrum. It's about a design debate based on design-centric solutions. And this debate on aesthetics and economics is going to be probably paving way for a meaningful conversation. Having said that, India is actually marching towards Namatgal. We have drawn out an action plan for India's development, and India hopes to become a superpower in 2047. Having said that, housing is a sector, building is a sector, construction activity is a sector where we need to concentrate because there's such a lot of investment in infrastructure. And when such investments happen, one of the things that can suffer in the name of development is the basic question of sustainability. In the present world, we are talking about climate resilient architecture, we are talking about disaster resilient architecture, we are talking about sustainable architecture. We have to come down to Indian solutions. We have to find local solutions for our issues. Local should be the mantra. Having said that, can we develop a template, a vocabulary, talking about people-centered architecture, talking about using local materials and technologies for taking architecture to the next level? Can we look at sustainability in a larger context of resources and things like that? This conversation is going to be led by young architects in Trivandrum. I am sure will turn to a very meaningful conversation. Let me once again thank the organizers, Architects and Interiors India, for actually making this Trivandrum as a destination. As you know, Kerala has got a huge legacy of vernacular architecture. And again, the legacy of Dr. Laurie Baker, who initiated a movement in resource efficient, economical, energy efficient, co-sensitive architecture. These are contributions that have really paved way for India's resurgence. Kerala has become a huge destination when you really look at it that way. When I was talking to the architects at a national level, I jokingly, not really jokingly, I said, the future of Indian architects is going to be decided by some architects in Kerala. I'm very sure that some of the contributions of Kerala architects, especially the younger generation, winning national and international awards year after year for the last 10 years, is going to be an eye-opener for the architecture fraternity at large. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity for showcasing. It's a huge opportunity because we can showcase our concerns, we can showcase our concerns about the emerging challenges in architecture, talk about aesthetics. There's an old conversation, old debate that still goes on, whether form is more important or function is more important. This has got connotations related to that. Thank you, the organizers, for giving this unique opportunity. Unfortunately, I was very keen to attend this event, to listen to the young voices, but unfortunately, I'll be away in Pune to do a national lecture, again on how Makan is going to be the mainstream in the development plans of India. Thank you very much.
That was a really sweet message, and we hope that one day for our future events, we can have him with us together, discussing his beautiful thoughts and idea on architecture and interiors. Now, moving further, we have another special presentation from Jindal Steel and Power. Can we please have the AV? We can do better. We can have a bigger round of applause. Thank you so much. I would now like to invite Mr. Samala Reddy, Manager, Jindal Steel and Power, to kindly come on stage and shed light on Jindal Panther.
Thank you, Sherry. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Molal Reddy from Product Application Group, Jindal Steel and Power. So today I will be presenting on future construction with the 550 grade steel. 550 grade having the superior properties, and when we replace with the 500D, we can save 5% of the steel. And it has having the better properties and the cleanness of the steel also. Coming to the Jindal Group, it is $28 billion group. So it was founded by the Om Prakash Jindal, sir. So and since expanded into 4 groups: Jindal Sa, Jindal Stainless Steel, and JSW Steel, and our group called Jindal Steel and Power. The chairman was Naveen Jindal, sir. And in the joint plant committee, provided the integrated steel plant in India in 2016. In this, Jindal Steel and Power is one of them. And we are mainly, our manufacturing plants mainly in the eastern part of India. So first is in Angul, Odisha. Second plant is in Raigad, Chhattisgarh. And third plant is in Patratur, Jharkhand. So this is the each plant capacities. So rail mill, Raigad mill mainly produces the rail structures, and it is 0.8 MTPA. And we are in the fabricated structures in Raigad also, 0.12 MTPA. In Angul, mainly we produce the TMT bars and the plates. So TMT bars capacity is 1.4 MTPA. And coming to the Patratur plant, we are manufacturing the wire rod mill, wire rod and the TMT bars. So the capacity of the wire rod mill is 0.6 and the bar mill is 1 MTPA. So we are into Oman. So bar mill capacity has 1.4 MTPA. So in bar mill also we are producing pelletization plants. The capacity is 4.5 MTPA. So this is our product range. So we are into a TMT and then wire rod. So in the plates, India's widest plate mill is having the JSP Angul, the with a width of 5 meters. And coming to the rails, single piece head end rails are manufacturing in the JSP Raigad. So with a length of 120 meter, 121 meter. So it is further extended up to 484 meters. In India, only JSP having this capacity. So other products like structures, we are into angles, channels, beams, and fabricated structures also. So we are sending to the bridges and then buildings and infra projects also. So this is the TMT rebars mills in the two plants. One is in Angul, another one is in the Patratur. So capacity is 1.4 MTPA in Angul, 1 MTPA in Patratur. So the product we will produce in the Angul plant is 8 to 40 mm diameter. In Patratur, we are manufacturing up to 50 mm diameter. So in India, only Patratur plant having the capacity to produce the 45 mm and 50 mm diameter. And we are sending to the nuclear power plant in Kaiga project with a 45 mm diameter. So this is the ideal process flow for the integrated steel plants. So from iron ore to final finished product. So we are manufacturing in single plant. So this is the process flow. So ore is melted in blast furnace and it is further refined into the BOF, basic oxygen furnace, and further refined into electric arc furnace. After that, it is casted based on the sizes like 165 by 165, 200 into 200, depends on the customer requirement. Then afterwards, it is rolled into a TMTs and wire rods, different products. So while casting the slabs and billets, so it should be a closed one. So it should not be a reoxidized. So reoxidized steel will become the inclusions and further affects the quality. To avoid that one, we are having the three main features we are using, like closed casting and automatic mold level fluctuations. So during casting, so mold powder will enter into the liquid metal. So that will affect the quality. To avoid that, we are using the automatic mold level controller. A third part is electromagnetic stirrer. So during casting, so there may be a different inclusions or reoxidated particles. To avoid that, we are steering the liquid steel in the caster. So to float the unwanted material into the slags. So that we are using the electromagnetic steering. So coming to the rolling mill. So I am explaining about the Patratur plant. So after billet is casted, 160 by 160 or 200 by 200. So it is heated into the furnace up to 1100 degrees centigrade. So in other suppliers, they are using the pusher type furnaces. We are using the walking beam furnace. So to maintain the uniform temperature. So in the furnace, we are having the three types of zones: preheating zone, heating zone, and soaking zone. So to maintain a throughout temperature, we are keeping it 2 hours to 2.5 hours to get the uniform temperature. So after that, after coming out the furnace, so it is having the scale. So to remove the scale, so we are using the 230 bar pressure. So it will give the good quality. So with this amount of pressure. So after that, it will goes to the vertical rolls and the horizontal rolls. So depends upon the size, it will come out like 8 mm, 10 mm, or 40 mm diameter. There should be a alternate vertical rolls and the horizontal rolls. So after rolling, it will cooled into the water boxes. The technology here called iQuest, high yield quenching and self tempering. The beauty of the TMT bar is outer diameter is the harder one, inner is the ferrite and perlite, that is a softer. Whenever a sudden load comes, the martensite, the outer diameter takes the load and gives the inside. So that will resist the load. So to maintain that, we are cooling it in the specified temperature, and we are keeping it in the cooling boxes. After the cooling, it will go to the cooling bed. So it is self-tempered. So like first, it will quench, surface is quenched to room temp 400 degrees centigrade. So in the cooling bed, inside temperature will goes up. So that will be self-tempered. Outer martensite is converted to the tempered martensite. So this is the TMT profile. So outer surface should be a tempered martensite. So yeah, probably it should be a 10 to 15%, 10 to 20% of tempered martensite, and in between there is a transition zone, 5 to 8%, and inside there is a soft ferrite and perlite. There, it should be a 75 to 80%. So the inner ring should be ideally this one. If any breakage is there, so that cannot be used in the field, because there is a sudden load, so that cannot be take inside, load cannot be take inside to the material. So the ideal profile of the TMT bar should be like this. And coming to the saving of steel, so when you go with 415 to 500, there should be a strength increase in 20%. 500 to 550, there is a strength increase in 32. 500 to 550, strength increase is 44%. So when the strength increases, 1% increase in the strength, half percentage reduction in the consumption. So there can be a save of steel. So if we are using 500D with 550D, there is a saving of 34%. So that strength can be avoided, that consumption can be reduced to the half percentage. So by using the higher diameters, or there can be a decrease in the spacings also, we can reduce by using the lower grade to the higher grade. So this is how we can use the spacings. 415 to 500, there should be a less space we can use, so by so that we can reduce the steel consumptions. Otherwise, we can decrease the diameters also. So we have supplied Lucknow Development Authority with a Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So there is a calculations from 415 to 550D. So after they have done the calculation, design team, so they have used the 550D with a saving of 7.5% of steel. So after that, they have given the approval that we are not using 550. For finally, we are going with the 550D. Like that, they have given the approval. So there is a lot of duplicate material in the outside, like a Jindal. There is a 550, 500D. So our Jindal Steel and Power having the brand name of Panther. So this is how TMT bars look like. There should be a ISI logo will be there, and CML number will be mentioned. And our brand should be a Jindal Panther. And each plant having their different CML numbers. So in Patratu different, and then different one. There is a different approvals are there. Case approvals and export approvals, and the NPCL also we are having the approvals, and PWD and CPWD also we are having approvals, and we are into a Green Pro certification. And this is some examples where we have supplied the 550D. In Kochi, we have supplied the Sans Infinite, and some of the AIMS colleges also in Gorakhpur, Jammu and Kashmir, and Guwahati, and some of the IIMs and IITs also we have supplied 550D. And India's prestigious project is Chenab Bridge. We are also supplied, there also we are supplied 550 grade. And we are into Siliguri, and cable bridge constructed by the Bihar. There also we are supplied 550 grade material. And we are into metros in Delhi Metro and Bombay and Hyderabad also we are supplied. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. Um, and now, finally, we move on to the most awaited part of the evening, our panel discussions. Kicking off our panel, we have the dynamic next-gen architects first, the ones who will dictate the architecture of tomorrow. And before that, I'd like to introduce our dear moderator for the next-gen panel, an alumnus from TMK College of Engineering, Kerala, who went on to co-found Ego Design Studio soon after graduation. Following his post-graduation in performative design at ACC Germany, he ventured into academia and has been involved in academic dialogues for the last decade. Currently, he is the Foundation Studio Director at Avni Institute of Design. Meanwhile, through his work at Trivandrum-based Ego Design Studio, he seeks to imbibe content in architecture. The studio is not limited to the confines of their own office, but also engages in collaborative practices, working in dialogue with other design practices. Ego Design Studio has been a recipient of multiple awards, gaining recognition through IIA Kerala State Awards, IIA National Awards, Match of the Merit List, JKAYA Awards, Cola Bowl Design Awards, and many more. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage the moderator for the next gen session and the founder and MD of Ego Design Studio, architect Niranjan Warrior. Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to hand over the forum to you.
Good evening, everyone. And I didn't expect so much people. So thank you, Architect and Interiors India, for this, specifically for this topic, because I think Trivandrum is the right place for that. And introducing the next gen part is even more important, because I think I don't know if I can put myself in next gen, but for the people whom I am collaborating with or people whom I am working with, there are next gen architects who is venturing into the field, and they are facing this exact question of aesthetics and economics. So when we all come out of the college with all the rigor, want to do good, great works, beautiful works, want to win Pritzker, and once you enter the real field, economics is where the first stopping comes. And I think at that's the moment when you start questioning where do you put your practice. So so ideally, Trivandrum maybe is more relevant because it has a large percentage of economic middle class. And most of the projects the youngsters encounter when we come to the profession is small projects or medium projects, which has less economy and a lot of ambition, like those Mohanlal and Srinivasanum പറയുന്ന വലിയ പൂന്തോട്ടവും എല്ലാം ഉള്ള വീട്, but nobody has money. So before going there, we first have to understand what is aesthetics. Aesthetics is actually the branch of philosophy concerned with the nature of beauty. And the next thing is, what is beauty? Beauty is relative, obviously, but if you could say on a general note, it gives a gladness to the senses when you see a good evening sky, or when you see Sachin playing his cover drive. These are all beautiful events, and there is beauty in it. And then the next question, which is always there, is the inclusivity of beauty, because beauty was for the elitist during one time, and beauty was used to discriminate. We still know beauty is used to discriminate. So the idea of inclusiveness of beauty have always been there in the backdrop, which is taking away the essence of beauty, actually. And the inclusiveness of architectural beauty is now being questioned, because in the initial stages when we come to practice, we have seen architecture, or people have started viewing architecture as the elitist thing. They're scared to come to architects because the house is going to be more expensive. Or I think that's the point where we stop and look at Laurie Baker. I think this is the man who changed this ideology, and he's been living and practicing in Trivandrum. And probably this is the person with whom we can start, because he has ventured into all modes of practice, keeping in mind aesthetics. His main goal was to make less experimental, but less expensive, but experimental buildings. Because whenever we are confronted with the tightness of economics, we fear to experiment, we fear beauty, we fear to do anything. And his works in CDS and LBC have explored the ideas of sustainability, climate responsiveness, aesthetics, and still it is economic. And the next part will be like the Seva building. This is the Seva building, which is probably one of the buildings that is well suited with the environment and the site. And also you can see how the landscape and the roof becomes one. This was done in similar times to land formation one by Zaha Hadid, which is praised for being initial stages of landscape and architecture being merging into one theme. This is also in Trivandrum, of course. And it's not a competition, but we could see how he has explored and experimented at the same time. And the next one is when he has touched the phenomenology part through Loyola Chapel, which has also explored the cross and the light cross, which is again hailed for Ted Ando's Church of Light, which happened a year after Loyola Chapel. Again, this is not a competition. I'm just venturing into the part where Baker has explored all possible norms of architecture, keeping in mind economics. And the last one was the coffee house. This is a high density site with a lot of economic value, and he has attained the maximum seating capacity, keeping in mind again economics. So I think he's probably the right person who has worked out the idea of beauty for all, keeping in mind the economic constraint. So let's move on to our panel discussion with this. I will invite the panelists. Everybody has a lot to read. I don't think I can read so much. So I'll just give the basic idea. We invite architect Krishna Chandran CV, who is the principal architect of his practice, Arc Expatio Architects, which is established in 2014 in Trivandrum, following his experience abroad and in India in various offices. Please. Let's welcome architect Deepti Pillai, who has brought up and educated in Mumbai. Following her moving to Kerala, she worked with architect G. Shankar, who just gave a beautiful talk, before venturing into the freelance. Her works are mostly residential commercial, but focuses largely on interior projects. And then there is Don Thomas, who was a senior at college and a friend who I'm known for a long time. He's worked in Middle East for a long time with KEO International, where he closely associated with Norman Foster Architects. And he has started his practice in Trivandrum, Archmira Architects and Planners, with a branch in Pune also. And last but not the least, Levin, who has been a very close friend and an associate in many things, including he was a founding partner of Finder Studio Trivandrum. He kickstarted his career in PNC Architects under Shobha in Dubai, where he worked on townships and commercial high-rise buildings. On his return to Kerala, he founded Founder Studio with a belief that architecture is all about spreading happiness. And that's where we stop. Let's try to spread happiness through this. Thank you.
Excuse me.
I request the team of ITP to please run the questionnaire slides.
So we shall move on to the first part of the discussion, which like before started with aesthetics, which is the most grayest of topics because everybody has their own liking of things. The movies I like, they may not like. So let's start with the question and in your perspective, what is aesthetics? Krishna.
Hi, everyone. So what I feel is the basic thing about design is how we arrive at the aesthetics of that part. Aesthetics is very important because what happens is aesthetics is very important because the design what we create, architects create differs only because of the aesthetics what we try to bring in. That depends on the depends on the requirements of client, how beautifully we can organize the requirement of client, which will give the basic aesthetics to that. So that's what I think about aesthetics. Really, I think so. People can put more light into that.
Don can.
Good evening, everybody. And thank you, ITP, for considering me in this panel of Next Gen. So to answer your question of aesthetics, to me, aesthetics is, I think, majorly very much subjective. Like it's it's like a taste, maybe a food which I like may not be what, someone else likes, or a genre of music or something like that. So when, in the same sense, when we talk in architecture, I think aesthetics might be for some, it's a style of architecture, maybe. Somebody likes a modernist style, or some may like something which is vernacular or something. So that is a visual aspect of it. And I also feel that aesthetics is not limited just to the visual aspect. Probably, being in a space which is, probably well lit, or it's a serene atmosphere. Maybe somebody feels, extremely comfortable there. So the experience that a space gives, I think that also adds a lot to the aesthetics when we talk about it in architecture. That's what I feel. So it's a combination of both visual and experience. That is what I would say.
Deep.
So for me, the moment you speak about architecture, I feel aesthetic is something which absolutely runs in proportion. I won't say it is the final or the utmost thing, but definitely it's a major point of concern and matter that needs to be addressed. So basically, if you talk about aesthetics, what exactly is it for me? I would say it's like a set of principles for the expression of beauty. Now, like we always saying, it is absolutely relative because some can like Aishwarya Rai, some can like Sushmita Sen, right? So beauty is absolutely what you see or what you like. So it's absolutely relative. So when we talk with respect to a design, I think the project, the designer, the client, this all in a box. And that's where I think aesthetic matters in that particular case, rather than saying like aesthetic is, I would never put it like it's unimportant or not very much relative, or probably functionality is more than aesthetic or something. There is a proportion, and I feel it's a proper balance that we need to go. Finally, aesthetic is something which is the most appealing thing to eyes. So it's an experience. And once that aesthetic is to the mark, then if you love the space, I think that's what comes to the fruition. So yeah, I'll just pass it to you.
Hi. When I was thinking about the aesthetic, it's like a very debatable thing. Everyone is telling it is very subjective, or it is objective. No one is talking about objective part of it. I feel when I'm going through what is aesthetic and thinking about it, still there are a lot of things, the common things that we all like. There should be some kind of criteria. I can't tell this a criteria. There's some denominate factors which we all like. That's something that we come from our evolution, maybe something we all relate to. That's why the old buildings, maybe we all going for the old buildings. We are still talking about Barcelona city, Amsterdam city. Even I didn't go there, but still a lot of people are going, talking about that. So there should be something that that's why we all studying architecture for 5 years. If there is no aesthetic things that we can attain by practice or whatever it is, we don't need to study for 5 years, maybe. Uh, there's a one American philosopher, he's talking about this aesthetic thing. He told that whatever things aesthetic are beautiful, there should be some three common things in it. It's like the features or shapes we like. And second one, it should fit the, like, it should serve the purpose of what it is intended to make. And third one, how good it was made. I think whatever we see and telling, there'll be different kind of things we like. Still, whatever we will like, if we focusing on it, all these things, three things maybe fit into it. It should be things we like, the same thing. It should serve the purpose of what we made for. Even it is all for making a mobile designs, everything. For any products, it works. So that's.
I think when he mentioned the ideas of commonness, I think it's relevant because, like she said, it's not a sideline thing. Like how Deepthi said, aesthetic cannot be sideline because we are all people who want to buy iPhones or beautiful things, well-designed things. So it is not something that could be sidelined. And this commonness in things, I think it has been researched how we are connected to nature, and most of the things that is in tune with nature is beautiful for us. We actually perceive our own self in certain things to find beauty in it. And when you say that, uh, now it's your aesthetics we are speaking about. What about your client's aesthetics? What is the most what is the factors you think is influencing?
If I interrupt, actually, the most important thing will be the client's aesthetics actually. So because that where we will be actually, counting the economics also, because every client comes with us with different requirement. Their look into the house will be entirely different from the other person who is coming there. So it's very tricky that how we are going to manage that, manage the aesthetics and the economics of the particular project. So I feel that we should, as an architect, we should look the aesthetics from the eyes of the client. Client will have different ideas, and how we are going to put it together to create an aesthetical space. The aesthetic doesn't mean that there should be a lot of show of things. Like this, like gimmicks need not be there. Just put some beauty to it. We need not add unnecessary element to it. But if you try to put everything together in a proper way and give the proper ventilation, so basic architecture if we follow, maybe we'll really achieve aesthetics with a good economics. But that's what I feel.
I think, like you said, there's this. I think Levin was also saying about that basic things that we can do to make a building aesthetically good. But you look at our cities, they are not aesthetic anymore. So I would differ on the opinion that the client's aesthetics are completely agreeable,
No,
probably.
I'm not telling that clients see, as a client, if they come to an architect, they will tell you this is what they are looking at. Basically, they will have an idea how they are building to it. Basically, if it is a residential building, they'll definitely have an idea how his house should look like. So that thing will be there, but we are not telling that we should totally agree to him and tell him just draft the thing to him, his requirement to him. It's not like that. We should mold it to that way that we achieve the aesthetics from his point of view.
So that's probably how you get his idea, you get what he likes, you start deriving the whatever we have learned through our education and try to convert it into something that fits the larger context as well. And at this point, we can move on to the next question where, like we said, the clients have their sense of aesthetics. We have our sense of aesthetics. So what drives the aesthetic sense, or what drives the aesthetics and spatial design today? I don't think it was the same 15 years back or 10 years back when we started, because when we started, the clients would come with images from Vanita Vedan or something, or magazines, but now clients come with Pinterest images. I'm not saying that's bad or good, because the exposure has helped everybody evolve. So what do you think helps, or what do you think drives aesthetics and spatial design today? Down.
I think nowadays clients are equally or in par with us when it comes to what is the architecture happening around. So many times we have clients who come to us with a clear homework done, that what they really need. So in that kind of a context, like they know what is happening all around the world. They are also having the same access to Pinterest and all those kind of things. So it depends. So sometimes that is where I think we have to play maybe a role of a negotiator, kind of like when it comes to sometimes some projects we have, the client comes to us with a high ambition but a limited budget. Yeah. So in that case, how do you fit in his ambition with respect to the budget that is being given to us? We have to, I think, play a sensible role. Sometimes we can play the role of, educating the client. And how the spatial thing works generally, I think, as a practice, we really, what I feel is, if you do justice to your project in terms when it's in the planning stage, a well-planned building, I think naturally aesthetics will follow. And as a practice, we generally don't do much just for the sake of aesthetics. Like so sometimes, yes, we are forced to, like, some clients want to feel the factor of luxury. And that is when maybe you have to use a lot of materials, a lot of play of materials come in. But other than that, I think even if it's a budgeted project, yes, we can do quite a lot and to make the building look good. And I don't think as architects, like, we all have our own aspiration for design, and we try to fit in it. But being a budgeted project, I don't think any architect does a bad job. Yeah, with the budget given to us, I think we try to do our best. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, again, coming back to the same thing again, what drives it? Actually, I find it interesting when he said clients are in par with us in knowledge. I think that is true, and that is the reason why the architecture of the state or the country is getting better, because, or I think I can call it's getting better. I don't know. So, so I think that is the exposure part. So that there is some influence that is running to the client and us. Could you say what is influencing us, or what is influencing our work?
I kind of, in continuation with what Mr. Krishna Chandra said, I do believe that when a project is assigned or a project we take up, definitely the prerogative is to get what the client wants. So as an architect, our professional aspect is to guide them through the journey, but I believe like what they want, because aesthetics for me is not just about the looks, it's also about the experience of the space that would be finally created. So when a client comes in for a particular thing, I definitely give a huge value to aesthetics. And because it's the final kind of an experience once you provide it, not just the looks. Because, like, for example, if you go to a resort or it's not just a wall that you concentrate, oh, this is a good wall or this is a good wallpaper. It's an experience of the space that you love. Maybe sometime the responsiveness we give to nature, or how you blend the nature inside. So these all things are, somewhere in connection with the experience, to the aura that is created. So like he mentioned, I would like to continue with that, is when a client comes with something, yes, I believe I need to create what he wants, because end of the day, he's going to use the space. So if I'm creating, I know there are certain signature styles that architects would like to put in. But if I'm making a residence, I don't want Deepti to be reflected there. I would rather, that is the mandatory thing, that a client should be reflected there. So in that way, I feel the client's expression of what they need, that is something we need to transform as style for the designers. I mean, from the designer side, that's what I feel.
Yeah, I think I want to again go back, pull back, because I want to know about the influences first before bending down to it or before allowing it to take over. What influences them? What do you think? Obviously, digital media is there. What are the other factors that would influence them? Leave the residential part now, maybe. Let's go to a bigger palette of things. What is that you think is going to be a pivotal role in the design for the client and for you?
It's like when we talk about residence, it's always with the client's perspective.
Yeah.
But still, there's kind of a, I think the aesthetic is kind of, it's a judgment of everyone's likes. Okay, this is what I like. And this is judgment with the taste of things. Good taste is there, bad taste is there. This taste can be learned. So sometimes we can teach our clients to understand what is more good for them. It's not a everything every time it won't work. Sometimes we can mostly in commercial, some if you do some restaurant projects and all, there's no personal things for the client. For him it will be like what good for the cafe or a restaurant. That's the it's agree, he agree with that. So for the business as well, so that we can experiment on anything. That's the time where we can, in residential, it's a very limited thing, but for the commercial projects, maybe we can go with our ideas and convey them with them.
But still, don't you think clients do have a preference on aesthetics, even if it's a commercial project?
Yes, they
have.
Of course they have,
Yeah.
but we have to convince them.
Why
it's
to
better
convince,
than-
but why? I mean,
because-
can't their aesthetics, can't we improve it? I mean, as an architect, don't you think our role would be more into giving them what they want in a more
Yeah,
professional manner?
Of course it is. I'm not like I'm not stopping him to make what he likes, but at least if I know that it's better, maybe he want yeah, we giving him more exposure.
Yeah, I think also they're coming to us because there is something we can also give them. So it's important that we are able to take whatever they are giving us and convert it into that a new narrative, because otherwise why would they come to us? That's also a point.
It's like if we both always agree, then one of us is not necessary. Yeah. So that is what I think. So what I feel is, yes, the client is important. Sometimes they try to drive the direction, but why they have come to us is because I think they feel that that is something that we could do for them or guide them. So that is how I think the client, yes, client is important, but I think we have to take our stand and our role.
Yeah.
It's the same. See, what I feel is like if you move away from the residential building, aesthetics, there is always a requirement of that particular project, like whether it is a commercial building or maybe a residential flat. But there is a lot of things which drives you, because where it is going to be, what is going to be there, what is the economics of that. Okay, that will drive the aesthetics of it actually. Because what happens is, suppose if you are building a apartment in a poshest or costliest part of Trivandrum, so definitely it should look good so that they can drive. I mean, they can get the right customer for it. So they will have their own luxury choices. So there we cannot compromise on the aesthetics. So client will also have a particular requirement, like this is how my building should look like. Then maybe we can actually go there also, that clients plays a very important role, and we can actually mold that requirement into a aesthetical or a beautiful building or beautiful creation like that. So that's what I feel, because even everywhere client will definitely play a very important role. But of course we can give them our own the practical knowledge and the knowledge which we achieve from our previous projects or something. We can actually tell them this will be if you tell them that this will be apt for this particular project, so please go ahead. So
Yeah,
that
that's
can
probably where you come to the point of the Bilbao effect, where in a in a city where you spend a lot of money to create the Bilbao Museum, the government was bankrupt, but they made that money in a year, or 3 times the money in a year, so something like that. So probably there's an example again in Velambalam Junction. There is Artex apartment, whose FAR or FSI might be something which we cannot believe to create because they won't allow us. Nobody allows us. But I think since it's Velambalam Junction, it's a prime property. I think they are focused more on the
looks
iconic quality of it. So there, I think aesthetics at one point is now getting forward. And moving on to the next one, we'll directly encounter uh, about the position of your practice. I think many have already said that. So is it an art-based practice or a business-based practice? How do you position yourself in the discourse, in the practice of architecture?
I can see architecture as a practice. It's not. What I believe, it's not just an art, because once you have an office, I think it is a business as well. So it is both. So if you ask us about our practice, we are very much young as a practice in Trivandrum, because I was for a long time working in the Middle East. So we still have that connections, and some of our projects we work with international consultants, we collaborate with them. Then we have local projects as well. So some of the projects, it's sometimes we have to say it is business because we have to feed the office and it has to run. But there are projects where we know when we take up the project itself, we know we would be in loss, but that would be the projects which will, make us happy or give us the satisfaction as being an architect. So where our projects, where we feel that we can be creative or we can fuel our creativity, yes, even if in a loss, I think we, as our office, we take up projects that way as well. But it's a mix. I think, at least to me, we cannot just see it as an art. Yeah.
actually, if I tell, it's a very tricky question. Actually.
It is actually.
Whether it is an art or a business. Of course, it is a business, but we cannot forget the art part of that. So how we balance it, like no, the art and business, how we balance it, that's where things comes out. I think so. So that's what I feel. Because we see, next example will be the director Shankar's movie and Adur Gopalakrishna's movie. So I think so. Shankar movies are like well extra budgeted movies. Adur Gopalakrishna, I don't know what will be the budget of the movie, but if you ask about art, Gopalakrishnan gives you much better art movies than Shankar. But which movie sells? Shankar's movie sells. So we can maybe.
I disagree with this. I disagree with this.
Why?
Because of the film, I like Shankar movies better. That's what.
That's again aesthetics. That's again aesthetics.
Yeah, please.
I think it's just another business. I don't think it's an art.
Oh my God.
No.
It's a very personal thing because I'm an artist. I used to draw. What I'm getting when I'm painting, I'm not getting while doing architecture because there are a lot of people involved. So it's not an art. I think
That's what I was telling. It's a fine line. You cannot go here or here. Should be.
You got so many
Yeah.
fans for that statement.
no, maybe because of
It's a
Maybe
very
everyone is trying to hide. He just spoke it out.
exactly. It's the yeah. It is the truth. Everybody is trying to hide. I mean, it's
I think it's like even during our college itself, architecture, they think that even architect students, even I was like that. I was studying something great.
No, one thing if I actually see, if I actually tell about that, in college we are taught only about aesthetics, concepts. I don't know how many concepts are happening practical nowadays. See, if you come up with a very extraordinary concept, do the client have the economics to build it?
one thing. College, we don't think about that. We just draw it because it's just happening. It will just go on a jury wall, finish. It's not going to happen outside. So I think so. See, when we should introduce this economics part to the architecture students also, so they also will get an idea what is going to happen practically. So because whenever maybe I don't know if I'm going out of the contest, but still let me tell this, because what happens is whenever a fresher come to my office, it's like we have to tell them this is how we have to design it. So maybe we try to teach them again, like what actually you need to do. So maybe if we can mix this aesthetics and economics in their teaching side itself, maybe it will be much more easy to conclude these things. I believe that. I don't know.
I feel architecture is definitely art, no doubt about it. But when you ask about business, I think anyone who has a roof like called an office and some staffs who needs to be fed with salary, definitely the business part comes in. Every month end, that's where the business does come in, especially now Onam went in, so the bonuses. So 25th, the call keeps going to all the people for the payment. So we cannot deny that it's not a business. It is. Even the most celebrated artist of the country, M.F. Hussain, his paintings are also sold, right, for prizes. So it is an art and it's a business too. So I feel it's a body of art where a tail of business also follows. Otherwise, we can't survive, right? So it does matter.
I would disagree on the part of concept which will come later, but because I like he said, ever since from college, I wanted to work on content, and it was difficult. But I think down the line, working for the past 10 years, I have figured out a clientage who appreciates content at very low cost. But let's not venture there. But like Levin just said, it's a business. So how can you club this business and aesthetics and content together and still run a successful practice like how Glenn Murcutt is doing? He's doing probably very small number of projects. Let's not go till there. There is Lijoreni Architects in Thrissur who does 4 or 5 projects and who run a very successful practice. So what do you think is the mode of practice which we can use? You have already said that how there's a bunch of projects which will fund the project for the soul satisfaction. And what is your mode? No, I have seen his projects and I personally like his projects. So I disagree to him saying it's a business.
No, it's a business because I think whatever we make should have an effect on whoever sees. Whether it can be safety, feel, or happiness, whatever it is. So it is just a responsibility of an architect to being aesthetic. It's not a different thing. Whether it is economical, we have low budget or lot of budget. We have to do whatever we do. We should do it aesthetically. It's just.
I think there's nothing wrong in seeing it as a business because at the end it's another profession, right?
Yes.
It's just that we are called architects, so we too have to survive. So I think there's nothing wrong in calling it as business as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's nothing wrong. I was asking, how do you run the business model in 2 different ways? There is Norman Foster, who runs a very contentful research-based practice, but he's charging the best in the world. And there is also other architects who do a lot of projects, which might not have content. There's nothing wrong or right about it, but what do you think is a possible method we can adopt?
Touched about Norman Foster. Let me tell you one difference with my experience in working in the Middle East. So here, one is with all these big firms and big names, there is a power of demanding which they have. Yeah, like for example, I've worked in the consultancy side. I've worked with the developer side. So while we are working in the developer side, like when we work with these big brands, the concept stage for a big project, they would even ask for a year's time, So that much of research and that much of work happens in the background till they come up with a proper concept. Whereas I don't see that happening here. I don't know very much whether it is happening here, but I think that has not been seen very much here. When you say about the research, they go into very much detail. The concept itself, when it comes out, it has a lot of background work done in it. So the time they take for it also, how much ever you try to pressurize, you won't get anything from them until and unless they are like satisfied and they come up, So they charge for that. So that is how it works. What my
I
experience.
think that's when the time comes to
Correct.
practice.
Here it is like everybody
Yeah.
comes with a limited budget, and obviously they see it as
Limited time, of course.
correct.
limited time,
And they see it as why can't you give it within this time, and whether this effort and time is appreciated. I don't know. Must be
Maybe in that aspect, we should probably charge for time, because most of the time when we start working till the design stage, I don't think most of them have the time
No,
constraint.
actually, I'll add to that, because what happens is when we're developing so-called concept or the basic design of a particular project, we cannot make it on a time frame basis, because we cannot tell them that we'll give you a concept in 2 days or 3 days. It may come in with, maybe it may happen in 1 hour's time, but we can't say. It may take 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. So charging timely ways, I don't know how much practical it will be, but maybe we'll have to adjust it practically within ourselves, within the office, so that we give more time on the basic designing stage. Because if we really see the design stage, we'll have 2-3 stages, because that's concept development, CD. I think so. In Middle East practice, they call it that way. The concept development stage will be there. Then there will be a design development stage. Then again, one more CD stage, or that construction development, construction drawing stage will be there. So maybe if we can actually balance these things, so that maybe we can charge timely and make it more worthy or economical.
So then moving on to the last part, ideally, it's in a residence, you actually spend money and you're not getting money in return. You're getting your space. So the way economics and aesthetics works in a residence is different from the way, like we just said before, it works in the larger projects or the commercial projects. So how does the relationship between aesthetics and economics change when the typology of projects change? Because we just saw how Baker handled the varied typology and varied experimental methods. So how do you do it in your practice when it's a residence, you can tell that, or when it is a bigger or a commercial project, how do you handle it? Where does aesthetic comes there?
Actually, for residences, I think so. I mean, residential, there will be a particular budget which will be there. Whether it is a luxury residence or a small residences, I mean, normal residence, there will be a budget. But say if you take a hospitality project, maybe a star hotel, where I think so there will be there is a requirement of that particular project, how it should be. So from that, we will be framing the aesthetics. Say that 5-star hotel will have their own requirement, thereof spatial quality will be have to be maintained, the finish quality have to be maintained, everything need to be maintained. So that will have we may, in that case, we will work it reverse, like, give the requirement and the cost of it. Correct.
Yeah, so I agree with your point. Like it's the same. Like when you work on a commercial project or maybe a hotel or something, like you're working towards a benchmark which is already given in a commercial. Like for example, any of the branded hotels, they have their own, the brand standards are given to you. So and you cannot go below that. And there, I think economics is not much a concern. But when we talk about residence, I think coming back to the point of aesthetics, when anybody starts to give a weightage for aesthetics, then like what you're trying to say is like there is no commercial return on a residential building. I think that's what you're trying to say, right? So spending more on your residential building, whereas spending on a commercial project, you have the return, but on a residential project, you don't. So I think that is where if one starts to, evaluate the aesthetic value of what we give as architects, if you put that to certain weightage, I think then you see that it has a value in spending. But having said that, it doesn't mean that you need to go back every day to a very luxurious looking home. But if you have a peaceful, setting where it gives a good feel coming back home, then I think that itself is another way to look at it. If I answered your question.
That must be the return on that, you know.
Correct. That's what
Yeah,
I think to say.
That is,
Yeah.
I think Deepthi can shed light because you work more on the interior part, and that is where in most of our houses the economy overshoots.
Yeah, so first, when we talk about this, just like coming to the economic project and all, I would say if you give me a 50 cent of land and tell me to design a 10,000 square feet of house, I'm sure the project is big, but the time we are going to take to do it might be little less compared to if you give me a 3 cent of land and tell me to design a 2,000 square feet house. I'm sure the time we are going to involve in that might be lots and lots more. So the effort we are going to put and the aesthetic, everything is going to be more. So sometime I don't think that it's actually in proportion. Now coming to your question of interior, there is a absolutely wrong myth wherein people do feel that interiors is something, it's not an investment, but it's just like a waste of money. And especially I have some couples coming in wherein maybe one of the partner would be like interested. So that's why they are coming. Or maybe the spouse might be like, I'm not interested, just like, just because she wants, I'm doing it, or because he wants, I'm doing it. But I would not say that it is actually not an investment because like you buy a Porsche or you buy a Ferrari, you have a reason to buy that, right? Else we can see Ambani is also driving maybe an Alto or something. So why do you buy it? So it's not just about that it's expensive, so they're buying it. No, there is a purpose for that. So interior also same way. I believe it's a complete, again, the aura that you develop after creating, we are escalating, like, we are actually creating a space for them and we are creating an energy in that space. So by interiors, it's not just about, having a house, putting some cupboards, putting some furniture. No, you just don't come, sleep, go back. No, we all are social beings. We want some association. There is a huge psychological effect of interiors in everyone's life, personality. So I totally do contradict with the concept that interior is a waste of money. It definitely is not. It's a quality of life. So like we all can, talk about, like just for a mere example, about any kind of luxury cars one buy or any kind of luxury properties you buy. So we all have a budget. We work on that budget. So we definitely have a standard of living, or we want an aura that we want to be in. So that's how I take my projects on. So whenever my clients come in, even if it's a low budget or a high budget, I ensure I give the best that can be delivered in his budget when it comes to the interiors.
Yeah, I think Levin should speak about how you handle that essence of aesthetics in the low budget projects which you have. How do you approach it?
I think I didn't do much big projects, so I can.
That's
That
specifically why I asked how do you manage that?
But the thing is, like she said, we had done an interior project, an apartment interior project where like they spent 70 lakhs for just three bedroom apartment in Kochi. At the same time, we did a project like 3-bedroom house, complete built for 35 lakhs. So which one do I like most or enjoy most when I am doing? I like both, because especially I like the apartment project because the other
Freedom.
business thing, because within 4 months we getting this much money. So that's why. But personally, when as an architecture way, with a lot of good spaces, I can show it to like the 35 lakh project. So everything is the basic thing is the both is a different style, but still it has its own aesthetics. That's we are trying to achieve.
Krishna, to
See, I
conclude
feel
that.
that interiors and architecture is not two different things.
Yeah.
It should go hand in hand, actually, see, it's not like spending on interiors. It's a whole space, right? Because I remember my HOD telling us when we used to take the design class, when he was lecturing us, he told me one thing. That time we were like, what he's telling? That was our attitude. But he was telling, see, the wife is cooking in the kitchen, and suddenly husband is sitting maybe in the living room. Suddenly he sees a myna or a bird in the lawn. So he wants to call his wife and show her. So now if you have a, maybe a small window or something on the, in the kitchen, he can immediately call her and tell that there is a bird there, please come and watch. Okay, but if it is not there, when he goes through the door and calls him, that bird might have flown away, right? So that niche or that puncture what we give is part of interiors, right? So that wall or wall decoration taken care by that small window what we give. So if we can design that space in such a way that we take this architecture and the interiors parallelly, so that will reduce a lot of cost, I believe, because for flat interiors, what I say, flat we will get a space where we are going to create introduce interiors to that. If you don't introduce the interiors to our design, maybe it can be more economical, I believe. Correct, because basic things we need for a living room, we need a TV unit, a sofa, a couch, or something like that. So if we can basic things we give and rest of things leave to the design to happen by itself, maybe it may be economical as well and aesthetical as well.
Yeah, I think our time is up. But to conclude on this note, we all started on the subjective nature of aesthetics, and then you ventured into commonalities that could create aesthetics, taking ideas from the client. And then we moved on to the idea of what drives spatial design. So there is internet, there is influences from the society, but even then you try to come back, club it together, take our essence into it and redefine the narrative. And then the idea of business. So economics, how do you manage time? See, all these things actually comes back to the last point where everybody is working backwards on your context. What is the budget you have? What is the type of client you have? And you work backwards to achieve whatever they want to get. And at the same time, you start imbibing your essence into it a bit. I think that's the safest way to work, because it's not aesthetic versus economics. They are there. That's what we have. We have to work with whatever we have to create the best we can. And on that note, I think I conclude that, and also this also suggests the same thing what even Laurie Baker was doing, like aesthetics is not reserved for one particular group or one particular project. It's this universal existence of a way of living. Like you said, you see a nature out of your window, you feel happy. And that way of living, way of seeing something good, something beautiful is important. It's very important. And probably economics is the most important factor. Like she said, there's this 3-cent plot that is more compelling and difficult to work than a 50-cent plot. So probably when the economics is stingy and we are still passionate about building something interesting, maybe new things will come up. So maybe you work backwards, you take things as parameters, you put together and try to come up with something with your intuition and your research. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So anybody has anything to ask on the, obviously. Mike, yeah.
Maybe more not want certain would not want to use certain materials or may shy away from certain materials because of the economic association, the notion that it or because aspirations you don't want sort of. So have you had to face something of that sort? So it's not necessarily the aesthetics, but it's also somewhere we might paint it as aesthetic, but there is some economic notion associated. So, how does that economics and materials, all of
Anybody
you,
can take
but yeah.
Okay, so I think what you wanted to ask is like if you are talking about a affluent client and probably a middle kind of a client, how the economics, you were asking about the costing of the materials, right?
It's, I
Materials,
think
yeah.
it's like when you see a baker house, you say it's a brick house. It is a cheap house,
Yeah.
low cost
Yeah,
house.
correct.
It's-
Now,
it's-
I will just give a slight information on this. Mr. Baker, he actually loved the shape of mango. Okay, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. I personally had the opportunity to visit his space and I could meet his wife. He loved the shape of mango. So if you go and see, like in his house, certain tiles, he have literally engraved the shape of mango. Even on his desk where he used to work, there is a mango. So why I'm trying to tell you this is aesthetics really doesn't have to be expensive. There is no boundary that it has to come from this price. No. If something, that's what initially I did take up a point that it's all about the aura that you feel, how you connect to. So if maybe the shape of mango was something which was very pleasing for him, which was quite homely for him, so he just tried to make it wherever it was visible for him. Similarly, when you talk about an aesthetic for an ordinary person or an affluent client, whatever that person likes, we need to, get our designing and concept directed to it. Now, coming to your question of like, how the products are going to affect, yes, it does, because when we go for a premium kind of a project, there are lots of branded products that comes in, right? And we have the opportunity and also we have the freedom to explore. So if I tell the client, this is the kind of finish, he likes it, he doesn't care about the price. Even if I get it imported from somewhere, he's okay with it. Now, similar kind of thing, when you talk about a normal client, I would say that is exactly where the absolute requirement or an architect or a designer falls in. When we try to practice something, we should always try for a solution that can come in. So like there are certain panels which come super expensive. So we sit as a team and we try to see what can be done, which would be somewhere similar to it, may not be the exact one, right? So we come up with different things, maybe out of like Googling or Pinterest, or we make our local labors get something done. May not be the brand ready-made product, but we try to get it. And I have done projects wherein I have absolutely tried to replicate a lot of things with the local labor with the permission of the client, wherein I used to tell him that this might not be as good or as finished the way it is. So the client will be like, okay, because anyway, the cost, we won't be in a position to afford the other one. And the project has come in absolute success to an extent wherein even my premium clients, I started suggesting that. Right. So that is where I said the absolute need of a designer comes in when we get an opportunity to create something. So I think I answered your question. Thank you.
I think again, before that thing, um, it's a role of the media actually, because I think the media here has branded Baker as a cost-effective architect, and that is probably the reason why for a while exposed concrete and exposed brick was difficult to get convinced to the client, because I remember in my earlier stages of practice, it was difficult. And 10 years down the line, the Pinterest is filled with exposed concrete and exposed brick buildings, and every affluent houses are also doing that. I think there was this notion of material economics, but
No, actually,
how much has it
material
changed?
economics definitely is there because uh, if I tell you an example, architect Shirish Berry, you can Google it. If you look into his work, he uses material. You cannot say that it is like no cheap, it's a cheap architecture or like that, but he uses a lot of local materials, which is available locally in and around maybe around 50, 60 kilometers within the site. So that actually reduces a lot of cost actually, because if we are going for a material which has to be sourced from maybe thousands kilometers away, so that will definitely affect the economics. So if you can come down to local materials, maybe that will cut down a lot of money and budget of it, because if you see Laurie Baker's example, he used a lot of bricks. Why? Because maybe it can be sourced locally.
Exactly. Actually, one point we missed here is when we say Laurie Baker, sir, about the cost effectiveness, he never used anything cheap in material, or actually it was never cost effective because he went for something cheaper or something. It was the only idea that he ever inculcated into this field was try sourcing things whichever is around you, try sourcing things whichever is locally available to you rather than importing or getting from different places. So when I spoke about the interior, same thing. When you take about all the branded things for an affluent client, we literally get it from places, maybe from Dubai or maybe from Bombay or somewhere. Transportation, tax, everything adds up to something. At the same time, when I gave you an example that we locally got it done from a local person, I don't know how far the finishing would be good, but we just try to explore it locally. So the cost won't even come to 1/4 of it, right? So Laurie Baker, sir, I would say is definitely an example of the message being conveyed to the entire generation, wherein just start sourcing things which is locally available to you rather than going out and procuring from outside and all the things. So we can always get inspired from the things like this Pinterest and all the kind of media things that we see. We can get inspired. Maybe now use our creativity to how to get it done locally. Yeah.
Sorry, just to add to it, a question towards you probably. What is the effort that you face today in this industry to get something done which is a look-alike, yeah, to that same quality of finish? And because I'm just telling my experience, it's a big struggle which we see, and I think that is why we have a lot of all those imported, materials coming in play today. Because one is the workmanship, which I think is very scarce or getting very scarce to get a good quality work. And that is where we, tend to end up using all this finished product so that I'm sure of what the end product is going to be. So
I think where you said about the craft, the
Correct.
effort we put, because Baker never considered his house to be a permanent thing. It was supposed to be demolished.
yes.
So when you look at Shirish Berry's work, the craft is extremely neat. That is probably the reason why he can easily convince people, and Baker didn't have to convince. So probably the material is one thing, and the
And-
way you present it, again, the aesthetics comes into picture.
Correct. Yeah. The
We'll
finished
start
product is what
making it-
finally.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah, business comes into picture.
again, that influence,
Business
design
comes-
influence comes
yeah.
into picture. Because as we were discussing, people come with Pinterest photos
Yeah,
and other
yeah.
things. Because most of the photos shows materials which are not locally available. Correct. So we are trying to give something which is similar to that. So of course, that time we'll have to source it from somewhere else. So economics will be more that time.
So that's where I made a solution. Like we try to do something with the permission of the client, absolutely informing the client. But it's not about replicating exactly the same. It's about bringing that kind of a concept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we are short of time. Yeah. So anybody else? Take one question.
From the technical perspective that you have learned that now perhaps since the Jingle team here that is a part of this program, ever since 2016 thereabouts, the technology behind the digital fabrication are that they are technically 10% more stronger than the design that the structural engineers suggest for them. Now, would it be a solution if the architects and the structural engineers work together and choose a technically better professional product so that the spacing that is required for building the structure in terms of the rebars that are good, brings about an additional sort of cost reduction, which can still actually still more in terms of the
I think, yeah, I understand. I think the problem that happens is in our structural engineering softwares, it's steel. It's not Jindal or it's not. Yeah, I understand. I think if we could add the structural thing into the calculative part, because they don't really specify which company usually. They might specify a set of companies. Yeah, understood. If it is stronger, it's obviously true that we can put that money into something else by reducing it. But also, I think we should probably be educating the structural designers parallelly on how different each structural steel is. So when they start calculating, they should probably calculate with the value of the particular company material, maybe. That's true. I think we are running short of time. Thank you, everybody, and we'll hand over to the
Thank you. Thank you.
Doin.
I request everyone to please stay back on the stage. Thank you so much, everybody. That was a really, really intriguing and involving panel discussion. I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Praseed Kumar, Regional Sales Manager, MRF Vapacure Paints, and Mr. Indrajit Sauji, Group Publishing Director of ITP Media Group, to felicitate the next gen panel. Mr. Niranjan Warrior. Architect Saiju Bashir. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just pronouncing the wrong name. Sorry, Deepthi Pillai. Architect Don Thomas. Architect Krishna Chandran. Architect Levin Joy. Thank you so much, everyone.
Barrier-free access solutions from Dormakaba. A barrier-free world for everyone. Coping with everyday life isn't always easy, especially if barriers are placed in our way. We mean that literally. Many people experience that almost on a daily basis. For children, seniors, people with physical limitations, doors are often the enemy. Getting through them often requires a lot of time, energy, and effort. Barrier-free design is essential for a person's independence and freedom, and now also legally required. With our products and solutions, we want to create an environment that is friendly, livable, and accessible for everyone. Whether in public buildings or in hospitals, in hotels, in offices, in your own four walls. A barrier-free world for everyone.
Well, that was a beautiful AV by Dorma Kaba. I would now like to invite Mr. Arvind Prasad, Manager Architectural Specifications South from Dorma Kaba, to please come and present further.
Yeah, good evening all. First of all, thank you. Thank you IDP for giving this wonderful opportunity for Dorma Kaba to be a part of this design debate event. First thing, what is Dorma Kaba for you? Just your AV, please. Talk about automatics now. Because way back in 1962, the automatics have been developed. Was 2009, all the airports were actually modernized with the flap barriers. Now even Trivandrum airport is with this kind of flap barriers. The merger happened in 2015. Dharma has become Dorma Kaba. So this is the history of Dharma and Dorma Kaba. In fact, how it has been evolved as an organization. So not wasting much on this. I'm just going on like how is Dorma Kaba for you? Like we have got almost presence across 160 countries and more than 16,000 employees. One thing to be highlighted here is 1,800 patents. If you say patents, so these are all inputs taken from designers, architects, consultants, specifiers, or a contractor or an influencer. We have developed a product. So more on a sustainable products, we work on sustainability and more onto inclusive designs. Nowadays, people talk about this inclusivity. So barrier-free movement. So Dorma Kaba is one among them. So all kind of certifications, you can see the green building certificate at the bottom. So we live by it. We don't say we wanted to be sustainable. I mean, specifiers like you wanted to be sustainable. No. First comes with Dorma. So for that, We have got a lot of certifications on the product portfolio as well. Like you require an European standard product, you require an ANSI, American standard product. We can offer all kind of solutions and with proper certifications to it. This is the country's first lab, like NABL certified lab for hardware testing. Normally NABH for hospitals, JCA is for hospitals, So NABL certified for laboratories. And this is the first lab which has been in the country. It has been given for the hardware testing. So we are the only one player who has got this type of facility. And as I said, sustainability, like all our, the Mahindra World City factory, which is completely powered by solar. It is 100% solar. There is no electric thing. So what is the purpose? Like what is Dharmakaba for you? Like why we are here? So we wanted to actually be a front runner for all the society, like whatever it is, for every place, wherever you go, we have to be a solution provider there. And we have our vision clear, very clear, that we wanted to be safe, secure, and sustainable. It is not that we provide a product, we give a product, and it is up to the society to take care of it. It is not that way. We gel with the customer, we gel with the society, in fact. So this is how the product portfolio lines up. We have got wide range of product portfolio. One is door hardware, mechanical key systems. I secured mechanical key systems are part of this. When we say mechanical key systems, it is not only the keying systems or the master key solutions. We can give you I-secured cylinders. Most of you are doing residential. Most of you would have had a pain point, like your customer may be saying, I have got 10 number of keys with me. I have to handle these kind of keys. No, we can give you one key and it solves all your problems. With one key, you can operate all your doors, all your cupboards, garage door, or an access control door. For an example, you wanted a digital door there. To operate that with a key, yes, it is possible. All comes in the mechanical key systems. We have got wide range of solutions in that. Door hardware, Dorma being a pioneer in door hardware solutions, we can offer solutions like, say, for a glass door, metal door, wooden door, what kind of door you are having, we offer solutions to that. Interior glass systems. So wherever you find a glass, to hold the glass, you require some kind of a hardware. So that is very important. Glass cannot stay there. So you need some kind of an hardware to hold the glass, and Dharmakaba is present for all your solutions on the glass. Entrance system, again, Dharma being pioneered in entrance solutions. So we are very proud to say, like, throughout the country you travel, most of the airports welcomes you with Dharmakaba operators. All your sliders, automatic sliding. Nowadays, people talk about this barrier-free movement as well. So your automatics becoming more and more, it's an emerging trend. But in the presentation I've just highlighted, it was in 1965, the first automatic operator has been installed or manufactured by Dharma. Lodging solutions. Most of the hospitality segment is picking up after this pandemic. So you have got hotels coming across all type of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. We have got solutions for lodging. Safe locks, more into ATM machines. Maybe designers like you may not show interest, but more for walls, ATM machines. Electronic access and data, we can offer solutions for all type of offline and online access control solutions. You name it, any kind of solution you require. Say, for an example, today you are using a mechanical door. Tomorrow you wanted to change it to a digital door. Just replace the cylinder with a digital cylinder and your door becomes electronic. So that kind of easy convention, your retrofitting can be very easy in this, and we can give you full-fledged access solutions also in this. Services, we have kept it as a part of a solution just because we don't, as I said earlier, we don't supply products and we are not, we go back. We depend, we wanted the society, we wanted to gel with the society. So for that, we have a service team across India. It is not that one service person will be traveling across India. We have service team across India, wherever we have offices. We have got almost 25 plus offices across India, and we have service team there. Last but not the least, the key wall systems, the acoustic partition solutions. We offer, say, banquet halls, wherever you find this acoustic partitions required. We offer acoustic partition solutions too. And main thing on this is we can offer you a solution which actually goes into the ceiling. People talk about the horizontal sliding folding acoustic partitions, but we can offer you something unique, something niche, which actually goes into the ceiling. Yes, you will be requiring a ceiling depth to accommodate all these panels, but by a touch of a button, all your panel goes up. So those kind of solutions can be offered. And key systems is like more into a key manufacturing machines. Like we give machines to OEMs, like say Maruti manufactures a key. It is Kawa's machine which has given that key. So those kind of segment we can cater into those. So this is how we are. I'm not just going into barrier free because the video has been played on by IDP. But what is barrier free? What is barrier free? Nowadays, people talk about this barrier free. Why is this barrier free required? Why is this inclusive design required? See, how we operate a door, the same way the physically challenged or differently able person cannot operate a door. To have that, you can actually go for an automatic solution. But people were talking about aesthetics, economics. Economics plays a vital role. If it is an automatic solution throughout your building, which actually shoots up your cost. For that, you have to go for a mechanical solution. What the standard says, or what the, there is an RPWD Act which is drafted, which will be coming in 2023. But what is 2016 saying, or what is document 10 saying, what is British standard saying is, when you open a door, the opening force you apply to open a door should be less than 22.5 newtons. To have that, one thing is you don't put a door closure, you open, door will be opening smoother. But the problem with that is when you close the door will not close back automatically. You have to manually close back again. Again, the energy, all these losses have come. So to avoid that, what we have done is we have actually reinvented a door closure, which is cam action door closure. The action itself is different in that. It gives a smoother action and it qualifies for ADA, as per American Disability Act, this has been done. So that is how this door closure has come. So all this, like I've just covered, NBC also says that this is that document, it says it should be ensured that the door opening force should be not more than 20 newtons. So these kind of things we can actually give to you barrier free. These are all few things like, see how a child is opening a door with ease. And we have got this eye secured systems, which I was mentioning to you. We can give you these eye secured systems. So you can see like one key, which is operating all type of doors, even the access control door there. Yeah, we have got these kind of demountable partitions, glass partitions for the commercial buildings. We don't give only the aluminum channels. This is not XYZ, this is Dharmakaba. So we wanted to give all these kind of certifications to you. Like we have got the stability certificate, we have got the acoustic, and we have got the EPD, HPD certificates for the sustainability. Environmental product declaration is very, very important nowadays, and that has been taken care. Any type of design, aesthetics, you can actually take care. And digital door lock, being a late entrant into the market, but we have got wide range of digital solutions. This is one beautiful solution which has got all kind of certifications for the fire, everything, apart from the functional features, like you have thumb impression, you have got numbering, you have got card, you have got different functions for it. And this is again one more beautiful solution. You can actually use a pull handle with an access door. Like the main entrance can be with this kind of a solution. Like you have a pull handle and you have a digital door lock integrated to it. So you name it, like Dharmakaba is present in all type of verticals, like offices, hotels, airports, industries. You name a vertical, Dharmakaba is present everywhere. So these are all few iconic references across the globe. And India, if you see, these are all the projects, like it's all the projects which we don't supply one product or two products. It's a solution which has been offered to these kind of a products. Like Dharmakaba has got almost 160 products, family in fact. So most of the family products have been covered in this kind of a projects. So kind of airports you can see. You have got Mumbai Airport, you have got Trivandrum Airport. So as I said earlier, so hotels, you have got multiple hotels like Marriott, Hilton. So everything is part of our thing. So any doubts, anything, please, we are there as this is a time constrained presentation. So we'll be there to support you, and we are always there. Our marketing office, sales office is in Trivandrum, so people are there to support you. Thank you.
Correct, no? Check, check. Check. Check, check, check. People, no? You can start. And make a money. Mic is better. And I will need some and make it. ഇരിക്കുമ്പോ ചെയ്യാം. അതുകൊണ്ട്
Thank you so much, Mr. Arvind. That was a very, very interesting presentation of Dorma Kaaba. And thank you so much, everyone, for being so patient. We shall be starting the Doyens panel discussion. And before we set the panel ablaze, I wanted to introduce to all of you the moderator for the Doyens panel. He was a gold medalist with the first ever distinction record in the Bachelor's of Architecture from Kerala University in 1983. He is registered with the Council of Architecture and is a fellow professor of Indian Institute of Architecture. In addition, he is an associate member of IID. He has been a practicing architect since 1986. In 1990, he trained with John Dalton and Terry David Architects, Plymouth, UK. He has traveled widely, particularly in Europe, where he studied the engineering, marvels, and architectural legacies of various countries. With a long journey at the Indian Institute of Architecture, he was the chairman of IIA Trivandrum Center in 2004 and 6. He has also been the director at YMC in 93-99. His clientels include public and private sectors like Kerala Police Headquarters, Kerala Forest Research Institute, multi-story office building at ISRO. Now, without taking further time, I would now like to introduce our moderator, Architect Koshi. Please come on the stage. Okay, Trivandrum, we can do better. Please. Thank you so much, sir.
Check. 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 I think this will do. This is fine. My dear friends, we will just go into the next session. And I think we will keep it as brief as possible because we have overrun time and we're going to try to restrict it within 45 minutes or less than that as the time mandates. And we'll be going into a different type of model. We would like to just show a small presentation where I would like to bring in aesthetics of even our architecture from a little bit of tradition right up to modern times and even touching international architecture. Can you show the next presentation, please? No, can they do that? Here? Yeah. Oh, I can do it myself. Very good. Thank you. So this is a little bit of, we start from a little bit of traditional Indian aesthetics. You know, it is about proportion, balance, symmetry. These are the foundation of our Indian aesthetics. And this is what we have seen is an Aihole temple complex in Karnataka. I think most of you know of it. Every shrine has a unique design and it's actually like a laboratory because different types of styles are found in this particular area. Almost there are 100 freestanding temples which have different characteristics by which we can think that, you know, it's like a bunch of architects with varied skills that come together in Aihole to experiment their ideas and create their own masterpieces. So Aihole was a perfect place for early architects to play their ideas and carry out structural experiments. So the next one. Now we will see that it comes with the advent of the we have the architecture, the European architecture came in with its focal points, vistas and plazas. You know, when the British arrived on the scene, it was through them that the first modern building construction planning was introduced. Their aim, but not to develop our country, but they had their own needs. But during that reign, we have seen so much of a new type of architecture coming into our country. I'll just run through because I don't want to waste time on this. You can see all of these buildings are familiar to you, but I would like to run through why, because you see the progression of architecture. Yeah. Then we see the advent of independent architecture in independent India. I think most of you recognize this project as Charles Correa's project. So we have the likes of architect Kanvinde, Charles Correa, and others who redefined architectural aesthetics from their perspectives. This is also Charles Correa's work outside the country. And then we know that, as we have seen Baker's works also, our friend has shown it earlier. So these are some of Baker's works. Loyola Chapel, I was a student in that school. I left it I'm completed in 1976. So then comes the other type, then comes a new advent of architecture in the 2000s, where we see the advent of technology and other effects, you know, or the effects of the Western architecture into our country. This is a school in Bangalore.
I'm not defining the architects' names. I think you know them. You know it as Sanjay Puri and Sanjay Mohe and all those people. Also, aesthetics. Also, I'd like to touch, I'm showing different slides because then what exactly is aesthetics? Some recent works by some modern architects. I'm not going to the architects' names because that is irrelevant in this context. You see the effect of light and shade in architecture, in architectural aesthetics. Form. So where is, again, I'd like to go forward a little bit more because it's not in order. I'll just go through this. You see how beautifully it has been done, the aesthetics part of it, sitting on a hillock. Very simple, modernistic stuff, but very beautiful. You all know this work. Frank Gehry's work, you know. You know this work also, Sahadi's project also, you know. So I was just running through architecture. I had a lot more to explain, but we are really run short of time and I don't want to keep you engaged. So, but I just gave you a picture of what is aesthetics like. How do you define aesthetics? I've shown different types of aesthetics, right from a traditional Indian architecture, which is monumental. And they had a purpose for that. They had this is a monumental architecture. You know about Taj Mahal and Fatehpur Sikri and all those things. So from there, we have journeyed through all these and we have arrived at a stage, arrived at a crossroads. So where do we go forward? How do we define aesthetics? How do we define economy? And how do we go forward? That's a debate which we are going to do. And I think we have got extremely wonderful panelists among us. I'm not going to read too much into them because that will take another 15 minutes. I will just run through in alphabetical order, no preference to anybody. Syriac had his degree in architecture from CET Trivandrum, did his master's from SPA, then he did a lot of work. He was awarded a lot of awards. I'm not going to go to his awards. That itself takes time. So he's a big, promising, award-winning architect, landscape architect, and hospitality architect, well known in his field. Just give him a big hand. Could you come on to stage, please? Then we have Manoj Kini. He's also from, I think, are you from CET? Yeah. I had a small doubt whether you came from TKO. Wonderful. So he is also out of CETians here. And he did his master's from CEPT, Ahmedabad. SPA? Oh, SPA, sorry. It's written alumnus of CEPT, Ahmedabad and SPA, both. Okay. Now, currently, he is the managing director of Kerala Tourism Infrastructure Limited. It's a public sector company. And he is also holding additional charge as director of Muziris Heritage Project, which is also a government project undertaking of the government. He has decades of experience, 2 decades of experience in design education, research and practice. So he is a multifaceted character. He is a teacher. He's an academician. He is a policy maker, and he's a wonderful urban designer. I forgot to tell you, he's a wonderful urban designer too. Can you come on to stage, please? So now we have architect Saiju Muhammad. No, is Bashir is written here. Muhammad is not written here. Okay, Saiju Muhammad, who is also from CET, and we have worked together. He was with us. He was our secretary when I was the chairman also. He's a wonderful
talented, and he was the chairman. He did wonderful things for the IAA with, road shows and bringing architecture into the limelight, bringing what is architecture to the public. So he's a great guy. He founded the Insight Card Consortium for Architectural Design, Research and Design. Insight Architects he has got his office in Oman too. He shuttles between Oman. Most of the time he's not here. When I call him, he says, I'm there. So and he has got a lot of, he has done a lot of design on paper. He has done publication for need of architecture in ports and seaports through the eyes of architects and all those things. A lot of conferences. He's a great guy. Please come on the stage. I think he won the best chairman awards, architecture. Yes. So he gave him a clap for that. Now we have Srijit, that also in alphabetical order, always are alphabetical. Please come. Award Srijit Srinivas is a multiple international award-winning architecture. He has got his practice in Trivandrum, Kerala. And he has won a lot of awards like the coveted 34th World Architecture Community Awards 2020 and winner of the 40th World Architecture Awards for the Brick Lattice House, among other regional awards. So we have a great group of panelists with us. And what we are trying to do is we are going to set 2 rounds of questions. Like I'll address to particular people according to their particular interests, but the others are free to go on to add on to that. And while they're going to they do the answering, some of their projects will come. Maybe that will give them a better perspective to explain what they mean or what their idiom is. And before I go into aesthetics, I'd like to define a little bit of aesthetics here. So we have a belly aesthetics here, and you have a stout aesthetics, you have a European aesthetics here, and you have a black aesthetics, you have a lean and bald aesthetics here. So which is the aesthetics which you would like to have? So aesthetics is very, very subjective, very subjective. So that's where we're going to catch on about aesthetics and the economy of aesthetics. Now, I will go on to the questions. We'll try to keep it as brief as possible. Time is exceeding. What's the time like now? 9:10. So it's past dinner time. So we will go on to the questions first. Akini, you are a well-known urban designer. Let us therefore start from an urban design perspective. How can you relate these 2 contrasting perspectives of aesthetics and economy from the urban design context? Especially, I would like you to touch on the current scenario in urban design or current design practices as far as city planning or urban design is concerned.
First of all, I don't take it as contrasting or maybe opposite.
Can you make it a little more louder?
Can you hear me? In fact, I don't take it as contrasting or opposing. In fact, economics and aesthetics. Let me come to the domain of design first. I would like to take a stand here. As far as design is concerned, we had wonderful discussion earlier by the Gen Next architects of Trivandrum. So I'm in fact continuing from there, whatever foundation they have put in here while discussion. I take design as a skill. Design is a skill. So every time you face a design challenge, you are trying to, solve that issue. That's what design is all about for the humanity. So when you take it as a skill, one thing what we have to understand is, if you look at Kerala, you look at India as a whole, please don't move.
No, give me the direction, I'll move.
Okay.
I have it with me. Okay, yeah. It's an order, no? It's in order, but I haven't gone there. In fact, I was just trying to kind of,
Fine.
Yeah. Okay, so just to have a, a visual about what is being explained. That's why we have brought in those visuals. Yeah. In fact, I mean, what I was trying to mention was India is known for its skill. That is why the whole world came to India, in search of India, if you know that. And we do have a long history of very wonderful, skilled craftsmen based in different parts of India. But understand that many of those skills don't exist now. So if you look at the carpentry, I should say that Kerala had wonderful carpentry tradition. We had more than 36 very refined joinery systems that evolved in Kerala. But frankly speaking, I'm telling you, nowadays, there are very few people who know all these dimensions of this carpentry. Basically because the generation never picked it up. There's a small story connected to that. KSID, Kerala State Institute of Design, I'm the principal of that since last 5 years. When I joined, it was a great exposure for me from architecture field. I was exposed to the design field where I came across wonderful designers all over India and the world who are working from different domains like textile design, timber crafts, experience design, apparel design. There are several areas of design. But the problem was the institute started as a craft institute in 2008, where it was supposed to train the craftsmen of Kerala to make them skillfully competent to the contemporary world. But frankly speaking, it became a failure. Nobody picked it up. I would like to connect this to the present situation where design, as I'm telling you, design is a skill. But when you say that, there is a danger there. So I'm connecting it with the first discussion here. When you say about design as a profession, the profession has to sustain. It has to be sustainable for the architect and for the society. It has to be satisfactory for personal level and for society. It has to be appealing, it has to be successful, and it has to be financially feasible. That is where the economics comes into this. So if you look at the urban scapes of Kerala, you see this two different pictures of the same area. One is towards the temple and the other one is opposite the temple. Where one was frozen in the time frame where it was in need of that, it still continues like that. But at the same time, the opposite side started transforming. So you see the difference. I don't want to say that that one is beautiful or this one is beautiful. You can judge it. So what has happened over the years to the same scenario and which one is appealing? Same with the next case. You have got the Agraharams in Palakkad. It's a domestic area, and you have got the transformation that is happening on the right-hand side. Next. You can see how the Fort Cochin street scenario has changed. The retrofitting happening there. Next. This is the Princess Street for Fort Cochin, where you can see several changes that is happening and how things are getting transformed. Next. So aesthetics is something, as it was mentioned by our moderator, it is subjective. But I would like to add two more dimensions to that. One is it is time-bound and it's culture-bound. So though it considers various factors such as form, color, texture, harmony, contrast, all those things that were mentioned by our moderator in the beginning, the problem is that it is strictly related to the timeline and it is strictly related to the culture. So it is ever evolving. So we cannot say that the aesthetics of the past was better and the aesthetics of the present was better. I don't know. It's a big question. But one thing which is very, very important is that it relates to the context, to the history and the function. They are cognitive in nature and imbibes the true essence of the space, delivering an image to the perceiver. So my question here is, as designers, as architects, are we really equipped? Next.
Aesthetics is obviously related to good design. It should be economical, it should be sustainable, it should be eco-friendly, and obviously it should follow some codes. Traditionally, we had very strict codes of conduct. That's why the past produced beautiful, compositions, like I showed it in the first picture. And at present, the codes are basically building rules or building bylaws. I should say that traditional Vastu codes also were codes. They were building rules, but in a different context. Present building codes are much more democratic, and we do have the freedom, and the materials also changed. But again, it is producing a set of results. So the influence of economy is the major thing that we have to discuss in this context, where aesthetics, are we compromising it for economy? I will not say that it is doing it. No. It is basically, it's a social norm that is producing these results. As I told you, the codes are basically the results of so many other aspects like culture, democracy, so many things. I can list a number of things where designers are no more decision makers in the present context. It is much more controlled by so many other factors. Most of them are social factors. And that is where I should call it that deterioration happens, where the society determines what it requires. And I believe that as architects, we do have a major role to play here. And how to do that? I think the basic problem that we are facing is we are always confined to our domain. We have to come out of this. All our discussions are happening within our domain. Architects are listening, architects are hearing, architects are thinking. But we are just not even 0.5 or 0.2% of the total population. So we have to come out of this. We have to come out of this. Let people think about architecture. Let us take the profession to the borders or the boundaries. Let us come out of this, self-made, what do you call this? Boundaries, boxes. So I think that spirit of architecture, the spirit of aesthetics is something which we have to make it as a part of our social thinking. And that's why we came up with a design policy for the state, where design awareness, design as a profession, design in its relation to heritage and identity, design, its planning and management will become the major, driving force. And unless this is going to happen, I'm telling you, my first point, design will remain as a skill. It will not be a profession. And if it is a skill, there is all chances that it will die. The same thing can happen to this design as a skill. If you look at it, whatever has happened to our traditional crafts, it can happen to design as a craft. So I believe that design is much more than that. And it is the role of each of us to take it to the next level. That's it.
Actually, I was going to ask you about this question of this public policy, design policy Kerala. I think Kerala is the first state to have the design policy. Am I right?
It's the first time.
Yeah,
yes.
it's the first state in the country to have a design policy. But since you touched on design policy, do you think that, give a good clap for that. So do you think that that policy has, I think you are a part of the framework,
Yes.
Decision maker in the policy. Do you think our policymakers have gone in the right direction, or you are able to influence them as far as design or design aspects are concerned? Of course, economy is their criterion, definitely. What about aesthetics, or what about the functionality in that?
No, in simple words, I'll say that one thing which I am happy about is that at least those people who are on the other side, they have started thinking about design.
Great.
That's it.
Great. So we have started the process whereby
Yes. I won't say that you will get the immediate results, but the results will come in future.
Great, wonderful. Give a big hand on that, please. Now, my next question is to Cyriac, my friend. As you know, he's an accomplished landscape architect and an architect in the hospitality sector, also very renowned. It's just touching on landscape and considering the natural beauty of Kerala. How do you define aesthetics in landscape design? And what role does it play? What role does economy play in the same? Can you show his slides, please? Yeah.
Landscape can be translated to nature, and nature is actually a much larger thing. When we deal it, we call it landscape, we call it a site, because the site has a specificity of nature. The very question of landscape or nature is actually quite a recent one. Like probably the first landscape painting appeared in the 18th century. Before 18th century, there was nothing like a landscape painting. And landscape coming to literature was as early as Wordsworth, probably in the Romantic poetry. I think partially because landscape was not, or nature was not considered as a problem, but some scale of development, scale of events actually intensified, and then people identified this as a kind of an issue, So now these days, we take development or design as an opposite of nature. So there is a kind of a binary happening, like this is on the other side. So we have an issue, like, every architectural object is actually an imposition on a piece of nature. And this is a curious thing in the sense, like, do we know enough of nature to intervene as architects into that? So which calls for a kind of an objective process. Any design process, as we know, needs some markers or what we call a generators of form in spaces or in architecture. So I think as architects internally, we should search for it. I mean, what are the generators of form related to nature? And in our previous discussion and now, I think the entire history of architecture is all about, finding certain rules or frameworks within which we work. Classical architecture always defined its goal as strength, beauty, and wisdom, which we all know that, manifested in the Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. And Corinthian column was supposed to be the beauty and all that. So these very concepts were actually crystallized throughout the history of architecture. So as a landscape architect, I would rather take my site as a generator of form. Yeah, simply because the site is, every site is different on the surface of Earth. And if you follow that, you get identity, you get difference. And blindly following a site would be a kind of an objective design process by which you are led to something which is unknown, something which is totally new. Which I believe is also quite a sustainable thing. And also there are site knowledge bases to understand site as a process, ecological process and all that. And the site is not a static physical object, but it's an ongoing thing. It's an evolving, becoming kind of a thing and all that. So this is evolving. I think one of our issues in aesthetics is like, we need something stable to anchor on, we need a stable reference to work on. And nature is always like that. Nature is always a very fresh and stable and beautiful thing, So, there are paintings on it, and there are like people do photography. Even I do photography, which I later developed as a hobby. Connecting, it's actually an exercise to connect with nature. So that is an internal process, which I believe as a landscape architect takes you to design solutions. And this calls for an objective process. The objective process always starts with site analysis, site planning, and getting to know the site in a better way and transfer that into. And curiously enough, I was trained as a landscape architect, and when I started practicing, I tried practicing as a landscape architect, and my problem was the kind of architectural object which I was dealing with, where other architects are working on, was a problematic thing. So in my process, I was sort of trying to integrate, or rather invent or design my buildings as part of the landscape. The landscape take a precedence, and the buildings follow that, and the kind of spatiality of even the interior spatiality of the building follows this macro thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Siriak. Now I'd like to address my question to Srijit. I've heard you often say that architecture is visual art. Can you explain your philosophy behind it?
Hi, good evening,
Can
everyone.
you put that slides next
Right.
one?
Good evening, everyone. So, thank you for the opportunity. Just what I would like to say is, whatever you see in visual art, like in paintings or sculpture, the principles there, the form, the proportions, the balance, all that, etc. So that you can see in our, like in the spaces we do. These are very simple principles we like use, which comes luckily naturally, like proportion, form, the lighting effect, the colors. So these are very simple, low cost, not at all costly structures. But then we use a lot of, if you analyze, you'll see a lot of principles like balance, the proportions, then the light coming, the proportion to openings, all that. And this is actually a crowd-funded project where we had a lot of limitations. And you'll see then again, without any extra cost, we could just do some effect with a double slant wall. So I would say even in public like buildings, like apartments, you can see that we follow a very, very simple form there. And by aesthetics, I mean a very good space planning, then also that a very good composition outside and even inside. And also that you'll see that, and there is one part of this aesthetics and visual art that you not only see that it is unseen, and like the feel you get, as earlier groups also said, the feel you get inside a space, like which I feel is very important. And these are all working under constraints. And here also you see that this building is just sticking two simple platonic forms together and creating a visual balance and an art form with it. And but if you analyze this, you can say that beauty is in the highest of beholder like. But if you analyze this, there are a lot of proportion sets. After drawing, if you go measure it, you will find there's some proportions set in that. And again, I just want to come to the feel of the spaces. This is something, a feel of the space is what I feel in the visual form, which is a priceless thing. So this future works. So very small works also. Okay.
So you have shown a lot of your brick buildings. Actually, would you say, and I've seen it without any protection from weather. So do you think it is functionally or functionally the right choice for as far as exterior is concerned?
Here you see, here from this, you can see the interior. You can see that the louvers are, just consider there is a sun, like a shade here. You just remove those louvers, if you, the louver wall outside, then it's like any other normal house. Here you're having an extra protection, I'm saying. Your window is
No,
1.5
basically you're
meters.
outside. No, it's
Yeah.
beside the point. Like, but since you was touching thing, I just asked that question
Yeah,
because
it's
your exposed brick is exposed to the weather.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
actually not a problem at all, I feel. Because even we are in the same school, and our college, the auditorium and the chapel, I think it's almost 50 years now, and the brick still stands, I don't know what thing they do, but I think maintenance is very less, but still it stands the test of time. So brick is actually a wonderful material. We just do a coating, and we don't need to protect it from brick.
So you would define your architecture based on a brick architecture?
No, not at all, not at all. That's just a coincidence that most of our famous works are brick works. So just a coincidence. I would say there are many people who call me and tell me I want a brick house, but actually I tell them, do you really need a brick house? Because some of the brick houses, it's not less costly. It is actually
So
more
I was
costly.
just going to touch that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
People think that, like when it is exposed brick, it becomes cheap. Like we were having somebody asking from the crowd that exposed brick is, yeah, you can probably tell about the economy of exposed brick also. Like
Yeah, I'll tell you that in this project, no, where we use brick, the finishes are not up to that mark. This is a low cost build. The resort is actually low cost, but when you come to this building, it is not low cost. Even the brick is higher cost. How we treat the brick.
Can you put your microphone close?
Yeah, how we treat the brick and how the brickwork is done. The labor is very intensive. That's where the cost is to do a brick joint like that. And each brick is actually laid as per drawing. Every line you give.
So you mean it is much more labor intensive?
It is labor
Labor
intensive.
intensive. So
And the brick is costly.
yeah.
And like detailing is also different from other houses. So I tell people, do you really need a brick house? When they see one of our successful brick houses, they come and ask us, okay, we also need a brick house. But I tell them, it's not the brick that you see. Actually, the beauty you see is of the proportions and the design. It's not of the brick. That I really tell them. But personally, I like
Is your economics catered to when you design these detailing?
it's my economics.
Your economics,
Yeah.
not the building economics.
Yeah.
The time you spend for your detailing,
Yeah,
does it come through in your
No, it is
through the
we need a
collective?
lot of time to design and detail a brickwork. I know. I think every architect.
No,
knows
what I
that.
meant is it economically viable? Are you getting paid for that?
Actually, the thing is, you know that I do few number of works. I don't actually think of my economics a lot. I do works only like where I get my fees. It's that's why I'm not doing a lot of works. Yeah. So I look at the quality of work and my peace of mind actually. So if I a lot of
So
people, if
it's more for you an art.
yeah, if people negotiate,
More for you an art
yeah,
rather than
yeah,
commercial proposition.
correct. If people
Okay,
negotiate a lot,
thank you, Srijit. We will go on to the next question. Saiju, you are a leading architect in the state, and even you are doing a lot of work in abroad, like in the Middle East. For you, is architecture an art form or is it business?
First of all, before I come to the point, I really want to thank Architects and Interiors India and ITP, because it was a long discussion, almost 5 years, 7 years back, I was discussing. My friend Levin grabbed all the claps for my response. I really wanted to say that architecture, I really wanted everyone to count this as a business. Architects of our generation or the previous generation or the generations to come count architectural practice as a business so that you can pay your architects better. And there will not be underpaid architects as of now. There will not be unpaid trainees as now. So let us think architecture as a business. So for a person as an architect, when he passes out, he comes out with a lot of emotions and he thinks designing architecture or doing architecture is all about architectural practice. I do not think that. Architectural designing is one of the things, very beautiful thing. That is one part of it. So where you are a designer, you are an architect, and then you have practicing architecture, then you have design. I mean, business, I mean, architecture as a business. So I really wanted to bring the word design industry because architecture comes under the design industry. So when I say it, I really wanted to take a word which Manoj said, that what is the relevance of designers in the society? We are few in numbers, we have no words. We are irrelevant in policy making, decision making. So why is it so? So why are we afraid of talking ourselves as that we are not doing business? And what is wrong in business? One more thing. And what is business? എന്താണ് business? If you have something in hand, if you are ready to give it for the benefit of something, it's a trade and it's a business. And if you think that you have something as a designer, you can serve to others and get paid for that, get the best money. And I'm happy that Srijit said that he refused a lot of projects because he is asked for negotiation. Good. Don't negotiate, please. I mean, get the best price because architects are underpaid because we are ready to accept or we are ready to like what you call underestimate ourselves so comfortably by a beautiful name that we are artists. You be an artist, but why do you sell your service of no cost or free of cost? And one more thing, when sir asked me about the point, art form, I personally do not believe art and design are two different things. And architecture is design. And why do you want to tie it up to art? Of course, you can do anything. If you are writing a poem, you definitely have words. You definitely have synonyms. Like that, it's a process. It is a collaborative process. But at the same time, I do not think any need of connecting or linking or tying up to the word art. Design, it itself has a beautiful stature, and architecture is actually a process of design. And I really proud and I really wanted the younger generation to talk about design industry and be proud of a design industry and talk aloud. Before I stop, one more thing. I'm happy that the previous discussion was very good. And I wanted to, one more thing, sorry. Just understanding the pulse of the people. I understand that Mrs. Savoji and their team scheduled the program first next gen, okay, so that everyone will be keen to listen to the doyens. But I understand Trivandrum is different. Trivandrum is here to listen to the youngsters and next gen. You listen to that, I guess.
Thank you, Saiju. Since you touched on your desire to pay architects more, I would like to shift the question to Manoj, who's in the public sector or in the government field. I mean, it is not actually, I mean, it's related to economy. You find in the government sector that the government is squeezing the profession of architecture by giving peanuts to architects. How do you think it is shaping the, there are a lot of big works, big major projects like 150, 200, 300 crores are coming out in the public sector, under the government of Kerala. How do you think this, how do you match that? Or how do you think that is affecting? I think you agree with me that architects are being squeezed. You are also an architect. You happen to be on the other side also. So can you just touch on that, please?
I don't know how much I can speak about this, but it's a pretty sad situation. I seriously feel bad when a graduate of architecture, even after post-graduation, when he enters into the domain of design industry, he's paid a meager amount of 15,000 or 20,000 rupees. It's a pretty bad situation. And if you look at government service, it's well paid. If you're entering into government service in PWD or maybe in departments, you are well paid. You are well paid in the scale of senior grade engineers. But the problem is when it comes to the practice, as I told you earlier, the profession of design, we haven't stood together to take it up. These are all part of the design policy which we have tried to cover up. So now, at least in the government, people, they know that design has to be paid. Design is a profession that do have a value, and it means a lot when designers. You see, the problem with the government project is that I was just asking it to someone who was doing a government project here. See, the problem is they come up with design. The design is accepted. The working drawings are given, but the problem is then it is taken up by a PMC. And a PMC, it can be A, B, C, or D. And the PMC, they never consult with the architect later. In many cases, I have seen that's happening. And the project goes haywire. But the name of the architect still remains there, and the final output will be very different. Even when PWD architects do that, it's the same results coming out because they are not given an upper hand in executing the design the way they want. So what is being designed and what is being executed makes a lot of difference. And in the process, architecture and architect is being negated. And this has happened over the years in the field, in the government sector, and mostly in private sector also. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you being in the public sector would try to influence the policies so that, architects dealing with public sector works
I'll tell you
are,
one.
are not
I'll tell you
asked
one-
for, quotes, you bring out your projects, you quote for.
No, no, I'll
this.
tell you two simple examples. One example is that when empanel happens, I have seen that an architect should have done a project worth 50 lakhs. An architect should have done a project worth 5 crores. Which youngster will have this 50 lakhs, this thing with them? And when the discussion happens in the tourism department, we made it a point that there are several youngsters who want to really do the work. And they want to practice. They don't have this 50 lakh, a project in their hand, which they can show. And for the first time, I'm telling you, in the tourism department, in the empanelment, there was a category where we had freshers joining the system.
Great. I think you here, there's also a clap for
But
that.
sad part was that many people didn't know about that and many people didn't apply. But at least those who have applied have gone through that process and they will start getting projects. So that is one thing what happened. Second thing that is going to happen is that if you want to practice, there is a norm for fees, which is being discussed now. Obviously, it is going to come up in the government circles with the minister. And obviously, the payment structure will be fixed by the government, not the way it is happening now.
That's very good news, because our fees has been fixed by engineers, as you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
Who does not
third
know
thing-
have.
Now, third thing is, in the empanelment process, when these things are coming up, one thing what we found was people do come up with consortiums and they say that there are architects, but none of these architects are part of this consortium. And we made it clear that this time when the empanelment happens, the particular architect whom you name, he should be presenting this particular thing for empanelment of architects. We never allowed anybody else to do the presentation. Second thing was, it was made sure that these architects are part of that and they had signed an MOU with. So many firms got deleted from this, basically because they were all bogus. They never had architects in that. So that much we could do within this short span of time.
Good. So I think you have been able to, touch upon the economy.
Yes.
Very good. Saiju, I will just orient back the question, the second question. Second round. This is the second round. We will go fast. We'll complete it as early as possible. Now, how do you amalgamate this? You said it's business, and you also admit that it is some form of art. So how do you amalgamate the two for a design solution, which is aesthetic, sustainable, and futuristic?
I think everybody has slides. So I also have a slide. Can you show that, please?
Saiju Mohammed's slide, can you put, please?
This is all about. It is what I have been doing passionately for all these times. This is where I see design everywhere. For some of you, you think that it's a war, okay? Maybe some creatures on the table. And some of you can see that happy faces of two people, two foodies. And some of the people can think that there is a beautiful environment around. There is a composition around. And some of the people can think that what those guy and this guy is doing, thinking about. So this talks all about what you said, the amalgamation, sir. Because honestly speaking, I am thinking not only about these two persons having food on the table with lot of creatures on the table, but at the same time, the one who designed it, the one who designed or decided to pour all these curries on the table. Why did they do that? And when you talk about the economics, are we thinking about the time we spend on that? The same thing you asked to architect Srijit, because in the previous meeting, since the time was over, I really wanted to ask that, because I've seen passionately working on projects. So, and you're talking about the economics, but the cost of a project or a product is the time or the money spent on. Okay? So how you calculate, how you weigh the time you spend on a particular project? So what I see, that's all the beautiful projects created by the youngsters have a enormous quantity of time, quality time, design spent time on that, but I don't know how it has been valued on the price. So what was that amalgamation?
How do you make it sustainable and futuristic?
Yeah. Okay. Then coming to that, it's all talking about my personal perception of design. So my philosophy of design is basically about my responses are my designs. So whatever I respond to a particular context, either like Sir said, it's a site, or like it can be a context by anything, by even the economic or the financial restriction, or somebody's what you call that, urge for luxury, to bring luxury to his room, or somebody's liking for passing or following a trend. All these things are coming on my table when I design, when I am to design something. So my philosophy is basically about my responses are my designs. Here is a response is a design. So in that case, all these things are my designs. So whether it is futuristic or whether it is sustainable, it's all depends upon the project or the context. So sometimes if that context demands to respond to me sustainably, I really love to do that, and I did that. And if that requires me to respond futuristically, I really love to do that. I'm trying to do that. I hope I answered.
Thank you. Thank you, Saiju. The second round question goes to Syriac. Syriac, we touched your landscape. Now we are touching your hospitality architecture. Hospitality sells aesthetics, isn't it? Hospitality, I think you sell aesthetics. That's why you get your clientele to come and stay in that particular place. So do you think economy is relevant in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, it sells, in hospitality. That's one genre of design where, we can sell beauty, and people enjoy beauty and pay a lot of money on it. But at the same time, I have an experience where, the project which I spent, the least amount of money is actually fetching more revenue, some of these early projects. I think the very concept of luxury is a social construct, it's actually a marketed concept. All these brand luxuries and materiality and all those things are nonsense. I mean, it doesn't give a quality of life at the end of it. It's all made up. It's all construct. And it's as architects, and it's our choice whether to follow it or not. The very first interview with one of my clients, and he was telling me, like, humanity was staying in a mud house for tens of thousands of years. And we are a continuation of that. And what brings us as a different human being? Nothing. We are a continuity of that. And he said, my guest can stay in a mud house with a thatched roof. And see, that confidence, that's not a marketed, that's not a construct. I mean, it's an original idea. I think hospitality needs at least what sells is original ideas, daring ideas, simple ideas, and that sells. I mean, that's my experience.
Thank you. Thank you, Syriac. So, the next question to Srijit. Do you think there is a challenge regarding functionality and the visual art which you propagate? Functionality, and see, I would like to tell you that architecture, I think we have a little constricted idea about aesthetics. Aesthetics is not just visual. Aesthetics is not just what you see on the outside. So aesthetics is more than that. It's about functionality. It's about spatial organization and all those parameters. So that's the question which I was fielding. So do you think your visual art which you propagate, do you think there is a challenge regarding functionality?
Okay. See, what I would like to honestly say is, I don't know whether people will believe this, But when we design something, no, I think you all will be like that. When you design something, it actually naturally comes. We don't like think of the aesthetics. We actually always give importance to the function of the building, be it any building, no. We actually design for the function. And this aesthetics and all this, it actually luckily follows. We don't actually sit and design for the aesthetic part. But to get the work completed, we have to give a lot of design details, drawings, all that. But this aesthetic part and all this, I'm telling you, it's very lucky that we get it naturally. We don't have to sit.
So you mean you're able to solve the functionality in
Yeah.
your visual art?
Yeah, naturally it comes. So I'm very lucky. But that's why when people ask, we like your elevations. I have an old house. Can you? Or there are even engineers who call, I have this plan. Can you do a elevation? There are people who even asked last year. But I tell them I don't know to do that because I cannot
We
do.
used to have a lot of those people from long time, they've been asking that, can you design it?
What can you do? I don't know. I don't think.
Can you design an elevation? That has been a big question, which
But we cannot
when
do,
we
no, sir.
started practice decades back.
But is it possible to do? I think we cannot do because
No, because
naturally.
the point is that people thought,
Yeah.
especially at that point of time, that architects design elevations and engineers
Yeah.
design the
It's not
building.
at all
So
that.
that concept has changed. But still, in this current year or last year, if people are asking that, I think it's a very, very.
I think we should tell our clients the value we bring to them with our designs. They should be convinced of that. They should understand that, I feel. That's what I would like to say.
Okay, now this is an open question to practicing architects, all of you. Builders have a need for profit. Builders, the builders who pay us, they need their need is for profit. And your desire is to produce good architecture. Do you think these are contradictory? Are you able to solve the good design element, the passion for designing, and the constraint of looking at the perspective from the builder side, from your client side? Don't ask me. I'm only a pardon. Thank you.
Problem is when you design.
Where's your microphone?
Go for that kind of mindset. Obviously, it becomes a costly exercise where builders can't take it up. It's very simple. So if you really want to have an apartment of that quality, Kanchenjunga, if you have gone there, it's beautiful. In fact, the way it has been crafted, it's a design. But the problem is that I'm sad to say that has not been replicated anyway. Very rarely it has been accepted by the builders. The reason is the same. It is not economic.
Yeah, but then if you look at the works of Frank Gehry and the likes, they have created monumental architecture using enormous amounts of money to create their monumental architecture. I think it's the other side, as we were touching the Bilbao effect also, you was telling. So it's like, spending money to bring in people, and, so they have been able to do that also. So that part is also there. That is why you have the other buildings which you saw. Can you just put those slides back once more, that presentation?
I think it's not money, it's the wow effect.
Yeah, the wow effect. No, because they were willing to spend, the client or the patron were willing to spend the first presentation. Patron was willing to spend money so that it would become iconic and bring in business into that place. Yeah, this is what we were speaking about. Extremely costly structures, but it still has a place in architecture. And this is probably leading in the architectural aesthetics currently. And as architects, I would this is a personal thing. How do you like the aesthetics of these architecture? This is very costly architecture. I would like to have the opinion 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think this Bilbao exercise was an exercise in branding, not in architecture. They're trying to sell their city, and
Can you be?
they brought.
Can you put the mic?
Yeah, they were trying to sell their city to the rest of the world, and they brought these star architects. They named the star architects working all over the world, brought them with the fees, and I had a meeting with Alfonso Carrera. So he was telling like the fees was not so much compared to the local architects. Finally, what they quoted was actually at par with the Spanish architects around, and they said Frank Gehry could meet somebody in a sheikh in somebody in the Gulf, a king of Saudi Arabia or somebody, and talk about Bilbao. And they were trying a kind of a branding and a selling exercise. And these kind of things are not real architecture. it was expressions of the modern economics, the kind of branding, the selling. And this never happened in history. Like, the selling of homes, for example, never happened in history. A home was a place for people to live in. It was not a saleable commodity, never in history. So I think we are going through strange times in history. I don't know how it lasts. And as I said, architectural objects.
We are touching a very
objects of
contradictory subject. There may be
longevity, yeah,
there
I
may be
mean,
others in the audience who would say no to that. But then that brings in the debate. I think we will open the floor after this round. Come on, Srijit, what is your opinion on this? This architecture, the aesthetics of this architecture. Like, no names mentioned, but
Yeah,
then,
this one you're saying.
yeah, this type, yeah.
See, all I want to say is, I would like to have a client to do something like that. Like, that's all I want. I always wish I get a big scale building
Great.
where I could do something.
So
I
you like the aesthetics of these projects?
Yeah. Surely I like the aesthetics of these projects have a form and they give so much importance to form and the spaces. So I don't have
Spaces we have to see. Yes,
We have
form.
to-
Yes.
yeah.
Can you, Saiju, your
മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാം.
any language, Hindi ആണെങ്കിലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
അല്ല, ഈ എല്ലാത്തിനും ഒരു ജന്മോദ്ദേശമുണ്ട്. The purpose of the purpose of birth of that building, if that justifies, it really aesthetics and need of the hour. So when this project have been conceived, so I was wondering what brief they had, the client and the architect has been discussing. Of course, there were so many beautiful things of statements, understandings, aesthetics, and all these processes were there, I believe. And whether you agree or not, but there is a point of discussion where the statement of architecture of a particular thing was very well discussed and discoursed. So the birth justifies everything.
And if it is contextual, it is beautiful, perhaps.
Yeah, contextual. But all these things have got a relative value. All these things. But having said that, the modernity has given a lot of possibilities. So sometimes architects as creative guys, so definitely take the opportunity of possibilities. So taking the challenges and possibilities of opportunities.
Yeah. So I think we are touching upon technological development, which is making these things possible.
Yes.
Like the advent of technology, which was not there, and we are progressing so fast that we are not able to even catch up with the technology. So,
yeah, agreed. For example, I just wanted to add this before when we are discussing the aesthetics. Aesthetics is being applied where aesthetics was never needed. For example, Apple or the cars and all these things, aesthetics was never a prime thing in functionally nothing. But people opted because of the aesthetics. But namali parayumbo polum building in the architecture, building in the aesthetics parayumpozhum കാറിന്റെയും കാറിന്റെയും പ്രൊഡക്ട്സിന്റെയും aesthetics ആണ് അതിന്റെ sellabilityയുടെയും acceptanceന്റെയും ഏറ്റവും മുകളിൽ നിൽക്കുന്നതെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു.
Thank you, Saiju. Manoj, your views on
In fact, I mean, I'm going along with Professor Syriac was telling, it's a strategy. It was, if you know, I don't know, everybody knows the story of Bilbao. Bilbao was an industrial town which was kind of obsolete. It became a dead town. So the idea of the city administration was to revive it. And as part of the revival, this particular building was built. So it was a strategy. It was a very, very specific economic marketing strategy to revive the town with this type of building. So it became a big success. But there is another version of this. As I told you, architecture is a cultural expression, and aesthetics is a derivative of culture.
So it is progressive. It is
That is
progressive.
progressive.
It
And this type of-
it never stops.
Yeah, this type of things will
Aesthetics
happen.
never stops. It goes on.
Transforms.
It
And-
very that's
and-
why I had to show that
And
history
whether
is starting.
I like it or not is not a question.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right. So we have the stout architecture and the lean architecture. Okay, thank you, Manoj. So I'd like to just close up with some more small questions. Like now we have seen different types of architecture. Yeah. I think we will open it to the floor. I think this question will open to the floor. Now this is also beautiful aesthetic architecture. I think all of the architects will agree to that. You saw the other end of the spectrum. You saw the technological advances. So what do you think as architects? Is it only the organic which makes it beautiful with natural materials? Or what do you take of the use of technology and into the new architecture? Like, for example, you with high performance glasses. So how do you rate? How do you think that aesthetics part of it? So I'd like to open the floor open. So we'll just close with this because everybody is getting hungry. So we will just close with a couple of questions from the crowd and answers also. Like crowd can also, the audience can also please answer. It's not, you need not even shoot questions. You can also answer. So the floor is open.
This is not my answer. I think the best answer is already been by Manoj Kini. The curves and contours are always, people like it.
No, my question was, should we go back to nature only? Because nature and trees and vegetation and everything is one form of aesthetics. The other is the other form of aesthetics. Yeah.
When we are in nature, I don't think that anybody will be having a difference of opinion. And it's not my word. It's basically, I was reading, I think it was, I forgot the name of the book. It's a very interesting book on which it speaks about the human aesthetics and where, the connect between the fluid forms and human psychology is connected. So this type of things will always remain there because this is something which is part of us. So obviously we will feel happy and comfortable there.
With nature.
Oh, yes.
But we were creating fluid forms with technology also. How do you rate that? Fluid forms.
No, that is why it is happening.
Yeah. So you think this is also aesthetic?
Parametric design is speaking about that fluidity. Parametric design speaks about the natural forms. Finally, we are coming to that. The advancement.
So
in technology is finally
you mean
taking
to
us
say that
nature.
it's not about greenery alone. It's not about nature
No,
alone.
no. See, it's all connected. The first point what Syriac sir was making was nowadays how architecture is getting connected to nature. The parametric forms generated out of the advanced technology, how it is getting connected to the nature and it becomes integrated. And it becomes a matter of, what do you call this, pleasure or whatever it is, enjoyment or becoming part of that, whatever it is.
So different form of aesthetics like.
Yes.
Now one small question. We had a Doma Kaba presentation with high-tech systems. So how do you define economics in this context? I think it's the last question. I think the panelists can answer or somebody in the audience can also answer. How do you define economics in this context? Because they have got high-tech Doma people. Yeah, so they've got wonderful technological advances, and I think it doesn't come easy on the purse. So how do you think of how do you define economics in this context of high technological development research, which companies like Dormakaba is doing?
So specifically, if I answer no, many a time I found that we cannot approach Dormakaba because the price is too high. But honestly, but for some things like if you're doing toilet partitions or glass partitions, then only their product is good. I have found that. Maybe an architect couldn't.
No, I'm not specifically saying about Dormakaba.
No, I'm just when you said Dormakaba,
I just mentioned because they had a beautiful presentation. I'm saying about high technology companies which are giving high technological solutions.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm saying only about the aesthetics of that.
Yeah, really. So the one thing is in future, when the population is extremely high, maybe more than double, then our present sort of design may not be able to cater to all that. Because if you see if there are double or triple the number of people, then you are not even going to get oxygen there. So there should be sensors for oxygen. If it is lower, then technology has to come in. But situation isn't that now. So presently, what I feel is like this sustainable architecture, this can also go parallelly. And when the sustainable features like the good air ventilation or the recycling of materials and cutting the minimum earth and all the sustainable features, recycling materials, solar power, all those. So that is one thing which will protect the earth. But then there is, at a later stage, a time will come when as the technology has to come into building. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Thank you. The floor is open. We'll have one last question to anyone or any comment also from your side. Can be a question or yeah, I think probably the audience can answer that question. One of your favorite one person. We'll give chance to three people. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Quick buzzer question, please. What is your favorite project or favorite architect, and why you consider that as a favorite architecture? Why you consider as a favorite aesthetics like? Quick buzzer. No quick buzzers. Are you all very hungry? Sleepy?
That question for the last time.
Yeah, for all of us, Siddek is going to answer that question.
No, I like the Guggenheim Frank Gehry in Bilbao because of his idea of going back to the history, and his what he called the dynamic forms of fish. He was anchoring on in this thing. So he said, when you go back to history, go back deeply into something like 1 million years back into the history. I mean, that is how it evolved, and that reason is quite valid actually. Evolution of a form like that, and if the architect has a valid reason behind it, and if it's able to achieve a form like that, and that's a great exercise in design. I like that building.
Achieve what he intended it to be, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's right. So thank you. I think we will close this session. You can give all of us a big hand, please. So thank you for your patience. I think we will meet again with such debates. I think more of you people should come this side and we will come that side. Thank you. God bless all of you.
I request everyone to please stay back. Thank you so much, everyone. That was a really, really brilliant session, very intriguing. I would now like to invite Mr. Krishna Chaitanya, AGM Sales and Marketing from Jindal Steel and Power, Mr. Ashok Kandaswamy, Zonal Director, South, Dormakaba, and Mr. Indrajit Saoji, Group Publishing Director, ITP Media Group, to kindly come on stage and felicitate the Doyens panel. Architect Koshi, Alex, can you please come forward? Architect Manoj Kinney. Architect Taiju Bashir. Architect Srijit Srinivas. And Architect T.M. Syriac. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir. And that wraps up the Design Debate Trivandrum edition. It was a joy to be here. You've been an absolutely wonderful audience, and I thank everyone for your patience. From me and the entire team of ITP Media, I'd like to thank our sponsors, category partners, MRF Vapacure Paints, Jindal Steel and Power, Jindal Panther, and Dormakaba. Thank you all for your support. And of course, I'd like to thank our esteemed guests, our fantastic curator and moderator, our dear key panelist, and everybody for taking time to make this evening a phenomenal success. It was truly a joy to be able to pick your brains. Trivandrum, you've been lovely. Hope to see you all again. Thank you.